All right, so I haven't had a chance. I have not had a chance to watch this development update yet for August, but I did do a development update for July. I mean, I did, watch the development update for July. I have not had a chance. I've just been so busy lately, and my AC going down and everything. I just haven't had a chance to watch this. So, so I'm excited to watch it now. I've got Maezriel with me. He has a podcast, a World of Warcraft podcast called Norganon. Okay. Actually, Mez, if you have a link to your podcast, feel free to throw it up in chat so people can check it out. Okay. And then we'll just get into this. Are you there? Can you hear okay? Can you hear me okay, Maezriel?
Oh yeah, I hear you perfectly.
Okay. All right, so let's just start watching this then. Kind of excited. And feel free to throw your a link up to your podcast, okay? Let me know how the volume is, guys. If it's too loud, if it's just right. I want to make sure you guys can hear everything.
Hello everyone, welcome to
Okay, it seems like it's a little bit low.
Update for August 2020 or September. I don't remember what month it is. No.
We're in August.
Yeah,
What the hell did she have on her head?
Margaret, she's pretty soft-spoken.
Yes,
I
yes.
just talked to you moments ago, so it's weird. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great, I think. Doing very, very good. Excited to be on another monthly live stream. Got a lot to go. Doing some recording yesterday.
Yeah, so we have.
He seems low too.
And then we'll get right into it. So we have lower thirds now because people kept asking who we are. So there you go. But it's not about us. It's about Ashes of Creation. So here we go. Today's update, we'll have a studio update from Steven. We did announce some stuff with My Games, so we'll talk a little bit about that. We do also have a design update. We have some in-game footage, actually 2 videos for you.
Definitely excited to hear about that My Games, that whole split going on. I really want to know about that. Something must have prompted them to decide to to do it themselves. In what was it, Europe, that they were using My Games for, or was it what region was it that they were using My Games for? You remember?
Yeah, it was for it was for like Russia and the EU. So they decided to do self-publishing, in place of My Games. It's we'll wait until we get to that part of the video.
Yeah. Okay.
This time around, and environment art update as well, with some cool assets in that end, and a character update with another video as well.
Okay.
And then we'll go
excited about that.
Which we've got quite a few questions. We'll probably get through 10 of them, but maybe we'll try for more if we can. We did get a lot of questions in the forum thread, so thank you so much for putting those in there. I know Toast is going to try her darndest to answer as many as possible because there were a lot of repeat questions in there as well.
I wish they would do like a video sometime where all they did was answer questions. That would be awesome. Like he did that like a month ago or something like that, a month and a half ago. So he just sat there for but I think it was only for like a half an hour or something like that. I would love to see them just like literally like an hour to an hour and a half of just answering questions the entire time. Maybe a couple of videos, but none of the other fluff. That would just be amazing.
So for quick updates, I'm just going to quick show those. We have our next dev discussion. So our next dev discussion is coming up in September. Stay tuned for it. All I'm going to give you is a sneak preview of immersion is going to be the topic.
Ooh, okay.
Compiling
when they say September, I'm excited about that for sure.
I think that report already went out to the design team, correct, Jeff?
The last one was Quest Breadcrumbs, so this one should be replacing that.
We also have a sweet coloring book for you guys. If you check out our ashesofcreation.com/news, which also is a great place to get all of our news. Everything's always there, even our live streams. I've now started uploading those as well. So everything's up there. We will be getting a fresh new look to that page.
Yo, not even kidding. I want this. Like, is this like a download coloring book, or is this like a legit coloring book that you can order? That's like paperback coloring book that you can go through and color the pictures. Do you know? Like, I want to look into this afterwards because I am legit interested in this. Super interested in this.
Someday. So.
You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
By the way, I just wanted to chime in. The participation that you guys out in the community have had in the dev discussions is very appreciated. It's really great to see different, opinions and comments and experiences, and all of those things kind of go to further reinforce, a lot of the design decisions that we've made with Ashes of Creation, and it's very beneficial for the team to kind of get that very eclectic, view from a lot of you guys as players. And please don't stop participating in those discussions. It's very, very helpful.
Yeah, and those, Toast does a great job of
thanks for putting that link up.
Every single comment. So don't worry, you're getting heard. And sometimes the example ones that she provides for the links for the dev team are it gets really long because there's been so many conversations happening with that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, you sometimes think you understand what the audience wants, but actually hearing it, directly in an organized way really helps to, laser focus us and get us on the right track. So yeah, keep it coming.
Yeah, awesome. And of course, those are up on the page for the coloring book if you want to participate. We've seen a lot of folks posting those, so that it's been really awesome seeing that. And we have our next cosmetic. We always tell you whenever the swap over is.
Okay, let's look at this real quick. See, this is cool. This is cool. I love this frog. I'm a huge fan. This mount, not so much. Not my style of mount. This cart is really cool.
And as of today, they are
sold out. You're kidding me, right?
They're no longer available.
Wow. How? Why?
Because that is last month's. That's from August. The September one is the Fire.
See, this is a whole different conversation. This is why I just can't stand this. This to me is worse than loot boxes. You know what I mean? This is worse than loot boxes to me. I cannot stand this type of a thing. Where they have something really cool, and if you missed out on something, maybe you couldn't afford it, especially because of corona going on and everything like that. People don't have a lot of extra money right now. They're just going to miss out on something like this. Why can't you rehash it in about 6 months or a year? Give people a chance to get it. It's just, I don't know. I hope that they maybe do something like that down the road, but I hate the exclusivity of it. And it's just one of those, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it. It's just, like I said, I've heard some things about this guy, about Steven. I've heard some things about him and kind of elitism and how he's been in his guilds and other games and everything. So things like this don't surprise me, But hearing his whole thing when he talked about, not liking RNG loot boxes and thinking that they're really, excuse me. Oh, I love those sneezes. Just basically thinking that they're unfair and everything, and kind of bait people to spend money. I don't see how this is any different. I really don't see how this is any different. It's exactly the same thing, except for you can see what you get, which is even more of a reason why people are going to want to spend money. It's crazy.
Yeah, for me, I'm fine with the exclusivity of it. To a point. It's I don't like that it's monthly for a pre-order skin. I think the pre-order should be a pre-order.
Yeah.
For me, it hits you with all of the FOMO before the game is ever even out. We don't have a way of judging the actual value of these skins. We're supposed to have one second. We're supposed to have a way of being able to get comparable skins in game, but we don't know how much work that'll actually be. So I'm either grinding for like let's take Invincible from World of Warcraft, Ice Crown Citadel. That's an amount that some people have grinded 10 years for. If all you want is an undead recolor, fine. Buy one, $25 saves you 10 years of a grind. For other people, that work is more valuable. But I have there's no metric for me to measure that with these cosmetics because we don't know yet. They look great, and from the mounts that we have seen come out from their concept to the game itself, they look fantastic. They do, and for a lot of people, I think they'll be very happy with the cosmetics. But I also don't like that since you can't go back and find and get any of the ones you missed out on, since you don't know what's coming up in the future, on top of the game's not out yet, it's just a perfect storm of it doesn't sit well with me. The only way to get these cosmetics is to buy one of the packages. So the cheapest one that comes with every cosmetic is $250. It gets you the A2 access, the embers, etc.
Well, most people aren't going to buy them that way, right? I mean, right now, a lot of people are buying them that way because it's like because of the fact that you got, you know, Asmongold and Shroud and freaking Summit and, you know, Tim the Tatman. Paying attention to this game, all of a sudden, there's this whole influx of interest in this game where 3 months ago, people were pretty much buying all these items a la carte. Now they're probably selling packages.
You buy the
it's
package.
Different.
After you've bought the package, then you can go and you can buy extra items a la carte. I haven't seen a way of being able to just buy them just the cosmetics.
Oh, really? And that's really unfortunate because, like, I already own the packages, right?
Yeah, I already dropped $250. I can't swallow spending more money on a game that doesn't exist yet. I bloody well want to stream it, so so my tolerance is already higher than most. For me, I think an easy compromise to keeping the exclusivity without completely robbing people of their agency for what they're buying, because I bought it when I had $250. I don't always have $250 burning a hole in my pocket. Would be like the month of launch, let us just pick on the website to like, there you go. Just let us pick any of the existing ones at the month of launch, and then just one, just let us swap once. And that way, at least I have a little bit more control over which ones, because I had no idea that Firefox was coming out. I gladly would have waited a month if I knew Firefox was going to be the next one. And that's what hurts the most. Like, the frog is cute. That fox is baller, and I want everything. The fox
is pretty baller, dude. I might have to get that. We'll look into the fox in a little bit, guys. Fupo says after you buy a package, you can buy each of the following month's cosmetics individually. So that's good. That's good to know. Like I said, I haven't spent any extra money on cosmetics. I can't remember the package that I got, like everything that was included, because I did the Kickstarter. So I've got all kinds of stuff coming to me, and I have Alpha 2 access and beyond. Okay, so that's my whole package level that I've got. The only other thing that I'll say on this, other than the fact that I just see it as just a huge cash grab that just, honestly, I just see it as disrespectful to people, especially in this time that we're going through. $25 for a mount right now, it's just, it's a big ask. It's a really big ask, and in my opinion, you should know better. Okay, that's besides
I think it's
besides
20
that
for the mount, but
well, whatever it is. Whatever it is, you know what I mean? It's just the fact that they're just the way it's happening. But like, I don't want to rehash that because I already said everything about it. But the only other thing that doesn't sit well with me is the fact they're spending time to making all these items, and this is literally 6 items per month less than everybody who's going to be supporting the game at release is going to get a chance to have. You know, it's 6 different things that they're going to spend less time working on in the game because they're doing stuff right now to keep making more and more and more money before the game's even out. So it's just, like I said, I understand it's a business and everything like that. Okay, but let's keep going. One thing that I will say, it's a business, and I'm going to say this: if you guys are watching this on Twitch, scroll down into the panels below, and you'll see the Ashes of Creation. I wrote a little something about Ashes of Creation and my interest in it. If you click the image, it will take you to the Ashes of Creation website, where you can go ahead and join the website. And if you do, it really helps me out. If you haven't joined the website, it doesn't cost anything. It's just quick email information. And I highly, you know, if you're going to be playing the game or even slightly remotely interested in it, if you do that, it helps me out a huge, it helps me out a lot. Okay. And if you guys are seeing this on YouTube, then it'll be down in the description box below. Okay. do me a favor, Zod, can you copy and paste that without highlighting your message? Because it's really hard to read that when it's highlighted. And then I'll read it. The cosmetic items are made from resources and asset used in the game, and other things. Not really a slowdown for development.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If these turn out to just be recolors of existing assets, like if these are going to be super, like relatively easy for us to grab recolors of, and these are just like slight variants of something that's already in game, then by all means, I'm blowing smoke. It's not that big of a deal. But without knowing that, it's the unknowns for me. I don't like that I don't know that there's no roadmap, and I don't like that I don't know how long it'll take for me to grind something comparable. That's really my biggest thing. Since Steven hyped Ashes to be against all the other types of stores that we see in other games, that's I just, since I don't know how easy it is to get these, that's why I used my my Invincible. If it takes even a solid 5-month grind to get the cosmetic that I want, then I know the store is saving me 5 months of time, and I have no metric for that in the game.
Yeah, it's just about whether, you know, your time is money. You just have to decide how valuable your time is. Zod says Ash is a creation streamer. Whoops. Streamer interviews were blatantly paid and staged, and the biggest red flag for me, simple fact that game has been talked up beyond belief. The actual gameplay itself looks absolutely terrible. The devs can say as much as they want about the great game is, but it looks absolutely horrible. Well, I haven't seen that much, and one thing that you have to understand about it though is it is still in pre-alpha. I mean, they haven't had a chance to work on their battle, their combat or anything like that yet. They haven't
Which
even.
Is what this is. We'll actually be seeing combat in this video.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know the difficulty in obtaining the items yet. Yeah. I'm glad that you said there will be variants of cosmetics table in game. Okay, let's get back to the video, guys.
Is on the news post, so definitely stay tuned for that. But our swap over will be September 2nd, 2020 at 11 a.m. Pacific, as noted in the article. So do keep a note of that if you're interested in the boons of the Waveborn goodies. And we also have... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying I wanted the snail.
Yeah.
I was also gonna say I leaked a little bit of the next month's stuff too. So
Steven got a little excited and shared them. People are really funny because they're messaging me like, "Oh no, Margaret, don't get mad at Steven for sharing them." I'm never mad at Steven. Don't worry, guys.
Lies.
Don't say that. People are gonna really think I do that.
I'm blinking twice.
Going in the closet.
I really had fun with that next set that's coming up. If you're interested in like fire elemental goodies and stuff like that. So yeah. And then the last thing on there, I believe, is the pandemic statue, which is this bad boy. It looks amazing. So as long as you've registered before that date, I believe it was in September. I'll have to double check that date. But yeah.
Do you know when the date is?
Register now. If you're already registered, you're good.
The date for what?
So
I'm still behind.
For the pandemic
just
statue.
go right into the studio update if you want to take that away, Steven.
Absolutely.
Am I too quiet? Sorry.
Oh, I don't know. Am I too quiet?
No, it's not profiting off of COVID. They're not selling anything. They're not selling a thing. They're giving it away for free. All you have to do is sign up on the website. That's all you got to do. And you get it for free. It's a housing item that you're going to get for free. So they're not profiting off of it.
This one's level for me.
Okay. Sorry, I keep saying them say.
People have to turn up their... I can adjust though.
All right, just
a lot of games have had things like, you know, in the game or discussed about something or something like that in relation to COVID. Many games have done that. So this is not the only one to do it. They're using COVID to get early signups equals profit.
Yeah, they actually paused the shop back in March. They did it for a few months, or they just kind of halted everything. But I mean, there's still a growing game though. So like you have to work with it. The fact that they're trying to hire more people, they were in the middle of moving into a bigger studio, things like that. yeah, they kind of halted the shop for a little bit, made this statue with like trying to help people out for it. It's just going to be an extra little item in the game.
Yeah.
Just to give a little studio update, we are a good ways through our hiring.
And yeah, beginning September 7th, 2020, this commemorative decor item seen below will discontinue being granted for newly registered. So it's
okay.
Just whenever you signed up.
So if you are watching this and you haven't signed up on the website and you think that there's even a remote chance that you might be playing Ashes of Creation when it comes out, go down to the panels below if you're on Twitch, or into the description box below, and there is a link to where you can sign up on the website, and all you have to do is sign up and you will get this in game when you play.
I believe as of yesterday we are at 16 of those 24 positions have been filled over the past 5 weeks, so we're very appreciative of you guys helping to kind of spread the word for the studio for our hiring goals. It's been very helpful. We've had a tremendous flow of very, very, very talented developers applying to the studio, very passionate and excited about the project, and that's always great for us as a company, as a team, to get that influx of passionate, very talented developers. We're very appreciative of that. So we will have additional rounds of hiring in the future, in the near future, actually. And if you did not, make it through to the final stage of the process, for those of you who have applied, keep your chin up. There will be additional opportunities in the future. So we're very, very happy about that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Spread that word.
Just amazing. And so it's been really hard to kind of really separate the
and they are definitely putting a lot of money into hiring, putting a lot of money back into the game. It's not like they're taking a lot of the money that they're making and just running with it and going on vacation. They are working really hard. This is the most ambitious MMO release that I've ever seen. Like the stuff that they're talking about doing.
Elaborate on the studio update.
I mean,
as was announced previously, due to COVID, we're still working from home. The hopes were that we would be in the new office by this month and/or next month. Unfortunately, as I've announced previously, it's likely not going to be until the beginning of the new year. There was an opportunity, perhaps, for us to move into the new studio come November or December timeframe. However, with the release of the initial Alpha 1. Being at the end of this year, I figured that would just be too much potential for disruption within the studio to orchestrate not only the release of the Alpha 1 client, but also a studio move. So we're going to be postponing that until the start of the next year.
That makes sense.
We also made an announcement.
You don't need a studio if nobody's going to be working in it, right?
The publishing of Ashes of Creation. Intrepid Studios has opened an entity within the Netherlands, within Amsterdam. We are hiring currently for the office that will be in Amsterdam. Those positions at the moment are going to be remote. So if you know any good European community management and or marketing teams or developers that you like, take a look at the positions that are open for the EU region and spread the word for that. We're very excited about that new adventure. And it's going to be fun to see how that turns out.
Yeah, it'll be fun for me too, because a lot of that is handled on my team's side. So we'll have fun doing a lot of cool stuff on that front.
Absolutely. So that's the development. Otherwise, is moving along rapidly as usual. We did in the studio just update from 4.23 Unreal Engine 4 to 4.25. It did introduce some bugs, but we're in the middle of squashing them.
All right, bud. Take care.
Job in doing that. We'd like to obviously stay up to date as much as possible with the new engine versions that come out.
Just so you guys know, if you guys got to take off, I know it's really late. It's like almost 3 a.m. so that I'm doing this. So for those of you who need to take off, I will be putting this up on my YouTube channel. You go down to the panels below, you can click on my YouTube and subscribe there, and you'll be able to watch the rest of it there. I'll be continuing to do content for Ashes of Creation as as information gets released and all their development updates and so on.
Out. and that's always a little bit of a process when we do that migration. So things are looking good. Things are going well.
Did you want to talk more on that migration front at all?
I gotta say, like, it's fun to like always play with the new tools that we get in the new releases, and since we skipped kind of 2 releases in one go, there's a lot of cool stuff that we got to learn about and integrate and figure out how to take advantage of. So that is something that we really enjoy. What's in my mouth?
Let's see some gameplay, baby. Let's see some gameplay, babies.
Because
Come on.
your camera's zoomed in like real close to you.
So go ahead and pause right though while they're talking on the engine.
Yeah. What's up?
So we actually got super lucky, and I don't think a lot of people understand how lucky we got. Are you tracking at all? What was going on with the Fortnite v Apple lawsuit?
No, not at all.
So Fortnite put out an update that allowed people to directly pay Fortnite, bypassing the 30%. Essentially, you can consider it a tax to Apple's store. Google does the same thing. Apple turned around and said, great, we're going to pull your app off the store because you're breaking our TOS. And within 24 hours, Fortnite had already had a lawsuit out and kept saying that it's abusive and paramount to, a monopoly, because the only way to get to an iOS device is through the Apple store. Now, whichever way you stand on that, one of the things that Apple said they were going to do was not just pull the app, but if they kept doing this, they would pull service to all of Epic's products, including any computer that's using, or any iOS device that is using not Unity.
What are you talking about? Unreal Engine?
Yes, thank you, Unreal. Completely blanked that.
It's okay.
Which is what Ashes is built in, is the Unreal Engine. We were, a lot of people were like, oh, no, there's nothing to be worried about. But honestly, there was for a little bit, because if they pulled Unreal, a lot of artists use MacBooks. It's most developers use Mac products. They're just everywhere. You could still design the game, by like having your artist develop everything in a Mac, port it over to a Windows, and then put it through. But still, it was an issue. But we got lucky where a judge had said, no, Apple can't do that. It would be too much to an entire industry for one company to be able to do that, which was nice. That's just like I said, while we were on topic of them upgrading to the new version of Unreal.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, good.
Little history.
Little history is always good.
A bit elaborate on that. 4.25 did have a lot of changes from an art perspective as well, and a lot of our artists are very, very happy with what's come along in the latest update. So that's always great to see too. And by the way, I know Margaret announced, but we do have, I believe we have 3 videos, not just 2, right?
Yeah, I said 2 for the design and 1 for character.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So if you don't have anything else to add for studio update stuff, we'll move on to our next thing. But obviously, if you have any questions about the My Games stuff, definitely check out our FAQ. It's on our website on the news section. It's also in our links from our forums too. So we've also linked it to all our social media. So definitely go check that out if you have any questions. We'll have further information on the migration front coming out soon. So stay tuned to that. And yeah. We're excited for all the new folks that are joining our team. So moving on, we're going to play a video because we're going to move on to our design section.
Good. Let's do that.
We're first going to play a video that's going to talk about the hybrid combat. We know that folks have been asking a lot about this. Obviously, a reminder that we're in like early stages of things on this front, but it should give you kind of like a good feel for it. And then we'll grab a couple questions and we'll answer those, and then we'll move into our next segment.
And that's the thing that people got to realize when they're watching this stuff. You can't look at the gameplay of something that's like more than 2 years out and say it looks horrible. You know what I mean? Like, so what about it looks horrible?
So not just that, we also have to remember, because we're going to see a lot of particle effects. They have purposely cranked the particle effects up to push the limits of the engine. They're like, everything looks a lot flashier now than what it should look come launch. Everything should be kind of getting tuned down and looking.
Okay, see, I didn't know that, so that's great to know.
Yeah, so the two things that a lot of developers will do, and since we're seeing a lot more of the, like that live, it's so one thing I do like about AOC, it doesn't do what like bigger AAA developers will do, where they'll show you like gameplay footage of the newest Call of Duty at an E3, but they're not telling you that it's being played through a computer rather than the Xbox. They're trying to show it to you raw, live, how they have it, which means settings. Like a lot of people are talking about pop up. The settings are cranked way down because it's easier to build for what the lowest computer can handle. And then you crank up things like the particle effects. You can kind of push the engine, see what's happening, where it's breaking, and then you optimize later down, like way later down. We're nowhere close to optimization.
Okay, well that's also good, right? Because you know that the way it looks right now, it's just going to look a million times better on a really good computer.
The key takeaway here will be how Cleave works with melee. You'll see that in just a second, and how he flips between the tab and action combat, to which we'll discuss because I have some opinions on it.
Great. Okay, let's get into it.
Preface this video, guys. Again, I always want to emphasize that the UI that you're going to see here is placeholder. Not a lot, there's still a lot of
a lot of the stuff that you're going to see in this stuff is all placeholder, guys. A lot of the stuff is
initial implementation of the hybrid combat, but just wanted to give you an idea of what's going to be experienced in Alpha 1.
A lot of the effects are placeholder, animations are placeholder.
And of course, taking feedback, we'll always take feedback.
A lot of stuff is placeholder right now.
All right, so I'm going to toss that video over. We'll see you in about 10 minutes.
All right, let's go.
To give context, that link
hey
right
everybody.
there, that's
welcome to another video.
World of Warcraft Vanilla Alpha.
I'm going to be talking a little bit about the hybrid combat system that's currently kind of first pass, early iteration of integrating the action components along.
Okay, let's take a look at that.
That is Alpha World of Warcraft. It looks nothing like what we got.
Yeah. It's still a lot closer to, classic than what it seems like this game is going to be. You know what I mean? Although I really wish that they would have had that hairstyle, because this hairstyle is not in the game. It's really unfortunate because I freaking love this hairstyle. I'm kind of disappointed that I see this now. Wow, Elwyn Forest looks nothing like it does in the game when it's released. This is a totally different Elwyn Forest right here. Like, this looks like the Mirage, like the little Mirage Lake and little waterfall right there. That's what this looks like. It doesn't look anything like this in game. That's interesting.
Yeah, and this.
Okay, I don't want to get into this, but yeah, okay. Oh.
With the tab targeting type component. So before we kind of take a look at this stuff, I just want to reiterate that this is the early look at Alpha 1. It is the preview. And
while he reiterates, I love how responsive his character is on that mount.
It's up to the testers that we're going to have
as opposed to like World of Warcraft, where just a static image.
Phases of alpha and beta.
I've noticed that a lot in a lot of their mounts. A lot of their mounts, the character's movements and the mountain movements are all unique.
One of the most important things to keep in mind as you're watching this stuff is that a lot of the art, while it looks great, we have an amazing artist team, but a lot of the art is first pass, including especially the UI. So keep that in mind. A lot of this UI is placeholder and will be further fleshed out as we.
You can hear the internet complaints that he's responding to when he says this stuff.
Oh, of course.
A little bit about.
Well, that's just the way people are in games, right? They don't wait for things to come out. They look at, and that's one of the things. Is it's a negative that they're showing you so much, and it's a positive that they're showing you so much so early. There's a reason why other games don't show you anything until like they're ready to go into beta, because they don't want people doing this. You know what I mean? They don't want that. you know, because all it's going to do is dissuade you. They're different, right? And that's one thing I respect them on. They want people to do this because then they can see what people like and what they don't like. You know what I mean? And they can just go ahead and clarify when people freak out about something looking a certain way or whatever. They can just say, hey, it's pre-alpha, bro. Relax. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta wait for a while. Like all this stuff, it's gonna get fixed up. Of course, they're gonna say it in a much better way than I would. So,
out the hybrid combat system. Let's take a look at the skill system. So this is where players allocate skill points into their different either active skills, their passive abilities, which can...
So, okay, so is this placeholder as well then? Because this looks, I mean, I get it. I see passive, active, and weapon. So I'm imagining different types of weapons in here, like say dagger, polearm, you know, sword, staff, things like that you can equip, and you being able to put points into them, and as you put points into them, you know, maybe different things happen. I don't know. You mentioned something about cleave effects, so maybe this putting points into it is going to improve that effect. So it just looks a little bit small though. So
yeah, if anything was
we'll
going to change for the UI, I would think like the ability buttons down at the bottom, the health and mana, the map, all of that looks clean. It looks modern. I mean, it's pretty much GW2, which is fine. I think this stuff and like some of the inventory things is what's most likely to change as we go through development. I think most of this is going to be heavily placeholder.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I agree with you, Holmes. This game does look amazing to be 2 years out.
Augment
at least 2 years out, right?
Usage of weapons and armors and their health regeneration and passive stats and stuff like that. On the weapon side of things, you know, that's where you will spec into certain types of procs based off of weapon groupings. So, you know, we've talked a little bit about this in the past. If you have a dagger, daggers might have a chance to proc a bleed.
Okay, bleeds.
Your weapon attack. And
then you have certain abilities that,
skills ability,
like backstab. I think they said,
does additional damage if the target is under a bleed effect.
Yeah, I remember him mentioning that already before.
We've said in the past that players will be able to allocate skill points into their active skills that are more geared towards either action combat or tab targeting.
Okay.
And you know, as an example, you can kind of see, you know, these skills can have additional points allocated to them.
What is that? Javelin pulls your target to your location. Something additional threat, additional something. I don't know. I can't read that. It's too small.
Further features. Some of them can be tabbed to start and become action if you allocate additional skill points, and this is one of the ways that we kind of balance the skills between action and tab targeting, you know, requiring additional skill points in order to unlock certain features.
Strike your target increases your block chance, generates additional threat. Rank 2 increased damage, increased something. Increased block chance, increased duration, increased block chance. Okay.
Features of that skill, and then it becomes.
Yeah, so it's clear he's playing a tank of some sort. What I don't know is if he's.
So what I'd like to show you is, let's see if we can find some monsters.
Augmenting tank, or if he's a tank as a base. That's what I
see. Okay, I'm sorry. I love the way this mount runs. Like I want this mount so bad. Look at it. Look how it runs. It's so realistic. Yeah. It's so realistic, dude.
So, let me dismount here. One of the things I'm going to show you.
Ooh, I like that shield.
The weapon attack. So you see on the queue down here, we have it's a Silver Guardian weapon. Oh, that's cool. Okay. So this is a rare, like level 10 weapon. It's not too bad. But these guys, I think.
Let's go back real quick.
Level 1. Like level.
excuse me. So you got power, dexterity, constitution, wisdom, mentality. And does that say will? Oh. Okay. Physical damage bonus, physical disable modifier. Oh, it's me interesting to. I can't wait to get into this.
Level 10 weapon. It's not too bad. But these guys I think are low. They're like level 1. As you can see, I'm currently in the tab mode, essentially. Oh, look at the poor little thing fly.
That was so cute how it tried to fly and it couldn't. Oh, that's freaking adorable. Dude, I want one so bad.
All over the place. I can click and I can target. I can tab target if I want to.
We've seen so far.
They're amazing.
So tab between that.
I'm so happy with it.
So this is the traditional kind of tab targeting. I can, my camera movement is not.
Yeah. Look how the guy rides it and it's not just static. Yeah, completely, dude. I completely agree with you, Holmes. Excuse me. One thing that I was really scared about with his game was the animations, just even a month ago looked sketchy as hell, and now like I'm seeing this. And from the last video that I saw, okay, it was 2 months ago, because last month's video that I saw, the animations looked so much better than I've ever seen them. And now watching the horse ride around, not the horse, the bear ride around, like, and I'm noticing unique animations between that and that horrendous anteater mount, the zebra anteater mount that he rides around on, that I just, why is it in the game? I don't know. It's just the most horrendous mount, but whatever. That's
Spoilers,
cool.
You're gonna see that bad boy return.
Oh, great. Okay, let's keep going.
To my cursor, I can kind of look around and do kind of stuff like that. I can look at my cool silver sword. Yeah, but players can very easily transition.
Look at that though. I think we just saw some at the same time.
My cool silver sword.
Okay, look at that. Okay, now listen to this. Okay, look how far away this volcano is. Okay, now watch. And this is, you guys remember, this is pre-alpha. Okay, and like Mez said, they're doing this on lower settings, right? Because they want to make the game run well on lower settings, and then they can mess with stuff later, right? And see what they have to adjust. Okay, so look at this. Pay attention to this right here. You see that? You can actually see it erupting in the distance. You can actually see it.
Yeah, but players can very easily traditional kind of tab targeting. I can,
I wish I could slow-mo.
Tied to my cursor. I can kind
do I have slow-mo here?
Kind of stuff like that.
You see, do I have a slow-mo here?
Playback speed.
Playback speed. Oh, this is perfect. Wait, okay, let's get to that spot.
I can look at my cool silver sword.
Okay. Playback speed 0.25. Look at that. That's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
You'll see a better shot of the volcano a little later on as well.
Players can very easily transition between tab targeting and action combat. By pressing Z,
he's enjoying the ride a little too much, if you ask me.
And additionally, a reticle has spawned. Now, like I said previously...
Wait, hold on. Let's go back, guys. Hold on.
I now time my cursor movement.
How do you do that?
I can look at my cool silver sword.
Tap Z.
Yeah. But players can very easily transition between tab targeting and action combat. By pressing Z, I now time my cursor movement to my camera, and additionally, a reticle has spawned. Now, like I said previously, the UI here is relatively rudimentary and very early.
Okay, one thing I can tell that it doesn't do that I really wish it did do is I wish it had like a soft, I don't know how you would describe that, like a soft lock. Okay, like a soft enemy lock. When you move around your radical and then you hover over an enemy, and all of a sudden it goes boink, and it literally sits on that enemy. And then but then if you even move your thing one more time, it's going to pop off of the enemy and keep going where you want it to go. And then when you hover over another enemy, it's going to boink, and then hover over that enemy, and it's going to stay there unless you know what I mean? It just kind of like assists you with the whole, because enemies in this game, they're moving around and yada, yada, yada so much. It's so much like, I don't know if you guys played a game that I think did it so well was Phantasy Star Online 2. The one that just released in the US like 2 months ago, even though the release was horrendous. That part of the game, the combat, what I'm talking about right now, if you get a chance, guys, watch a video of the gameplay of Phantasy Star Online 2. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It literally is a game changer. It's amazing. I love everything about it. Okay, I'll just keep going. Oh, go ahead.
They have said that things like headshots will award more damage, or at least like an auto crit.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Okay, never mind. You can't do that. You can't do that then.
I am curious about hitboxes though, because like we have smaller races, we have larger races, and how does that balance out? Like if I'm just gonna run around as a dwarf and have, it's just gonna be harder to hit, So we're gonna see that a dwarf meta come out in PvP because we're just smaller. So I don't know if they'll have an aim assist. I think that'll be one of the things that I'm going to hit hard if once the Alpha 2 releases. I'm going to go straight to that and figure out what's going on.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
But essentially, as I hover over targets with this reticle, I will get indicators through.
That's a really small raptor. It's a very small raptor.
Essentially, either distance to the target, whether or not a skill that I might have prepped could hit the target from this distance. I can left click and tab target a target currently. Now we'll change that to be right click.
I love the weapon swings.
But it should be right click.
I don't like how you put your weapon away and it disappears. Of course, I know that that's not going to be the way it is in the game. At least I hope it isn't.
An enemy this way, I can utilize my tab targeting skills. So I'll try to hook this dude. Come on over, little buddy.
Okay, that was good.
My left click will attack. And I can use my kind of movements here.
See, that's cool, dude. That looks really fluid. That looks really fluid to me.
Guys, is that all weapons have a forward cone to some degree.
Wait.
Based on the weapon type, it'll change.
Is that like default? The cone?
Pole arms, for example, will have a much wider arc.
That's the cleave I was talking about.
Out.
So it looks like swords will have a certain sized cone and a certain distance.
Yeah, he's talking about that right now with pole arms and daggers and.
Based on the weapon type, it'll change.
Yeah, and it's making some people a little leery. They don't know how it'll balance out with like actual AOE. But I think if they do like let's just say a soft cap, 5 enemies will take full damage from your sword. Anything more than that'll take less. But with AOE skills, like a mage,
well, no, because you got to remember, like he said, it depends on the weapon that you use, how big the cone will be, right? So he just said that, right?
Yeah, but if you're gathering up like 20 enemies, and even if they're all inside that cone,
but that's gonna be hard to get 20 enemies in that cone. You know, you're gonna have to be using a pole arm there, but then you're not gonna be able to hold them because they're gonna freaking destroy you. 20 enemies, but they're just gonna hit you one time each, and you're gonna be dead. So it's not, you know what I mean? You gotta think about it that way.
It depends.
Yeah.
Pole arms, for example, will have a much wider arc and much further out. Daggers will have a more fine
further out too.
So you have to be more precise in that regard. So if I pull this sword, if I pull a few of these macaws, let's see.
See, I like that. And the reason why I like that too, because it lends itself to people who may not necessarily be as skilled as others. You know, if you're not necessarily as skilled, don't use daggers. But for those people that really are highly skilled players and you use daggers, I feel like daggers should be more damage naturally, and that they should be rewarded for being able to do that damage. I mean, to be able to play that weapon properly, you know, compared to somebody who doesn't necessarily have that skill to do that.
If we can grab a few of them. Come on over. So we have a few macaws here.
Okay.
Little buddies. I feel horrible.
I like the sounds of it there.
As I attack, I'm hitting multiple
I love this.
of these
I love this.
opponents. And that's
I love this so much.
Because all weapons, regardless of if you're in reticle mode or tab targeting mode, you will be able to have a action-based type weapon attack. Not active skill, but weapon attack. Let me pull this guy. So, that's an important note. Weapons each have their own unique and individual...
it seems like it... It seems like it took a...
That thing was, like...
The pull?
Yeah, it looked like it got yanked instead of just take random damage.
Let's watch it again.
Skill, but weapon attack. Let me pull this guy.
But see how it takes so long for the enemy to react? I mean, of course, pre-alpha, right?
That's an important note.
That also, it might be a minor stun attached to individual.
Okay. Oh, dude, I love that, like, little death, and when it dies, like, puts its freaking feet up in the air. That was awesome.
Let me pull this guy. So,
I like
that's an important note. Weapons each
I like all the lights, too. See, watch this. Watch. Look at that. Ah, it's so cool.
And distance that
what did you say? Holmes HC, yup. And I love New World, and I'm an MMO junkie. Love that feeling entering a new world and not knowing what's around the corner and sharing the experience with massive amounts of people. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Can't wait to smash things with my dwarf two-handed mace fighter cleric. Yeah, dude, that's gonna be awesome, dude.
Deal damage to a target. Let's see if we can go.
For those of you guys who have not had a chance to sign up to the website of Ashes of Creation, if you scroll down to the panels below, or if you're watching this on YouTube, into the description box below, there will be a link in YouTube, and there is a image in the Twitch panels below that you can click, and it'll take you directly to the website where you can go ahead and join the website. And if you do, you will get a free like statue for your house when the game comes out. But I think you got to do it within the next, like, what is it today, the 3rd? So within the next 4 days, 3 to 4 days or something like that. So it's really, like, I highly recommend that you, like, if you're watching right now, you do it now.
So, over here. And let me grab this little plant. What's up, buddy? Give me your goods.
One thing I hope they do with gathering,
obviously,
is,
as I've said in the past,
I hope that they have like rare resources. Like when you loot something, there's like a small chance they can proc a rare resource. Like EverQuest 2 did that really, really well, and they had like a unique sound chime that you got when you got a rare item. When you heard that, you're like, what did I get? And this makes you excited. I really love that.
Action,
yeah, I agree.
Combat and tab are two very different tempos, and you know, if we had to go through,
what do you think of having to press a button to flip between the two?
Flip between the two? What are you talking about? Action and
tab targeting.
Honestly, I don't like the idea. I wish that they would have just chosen one. I just really wish they would have chosen one. But you know what I liked? You know what I liked? I'll be honest with you. I like the Elder Scrolls Online system. Okay, because Elder Scrolls Online is pretty much tab targeting. I mean, pretty much is, except for you can dodge spells, you can dodge range attacks, you can dodge stuff like that by strafing left, strafing right, things like that. If somebody shoots something with you, it doesn't mean it has to hit you. You can dodge it. I love stuff like that. I think Elder Scrolls Online, even though their combat isn't the best, I think that part of their combat was phenomenal. You know what I mean?
I'm okay with the hybrid system, but rather, and I'm fine with a toggle button if if it's for like if I want to go walk around, just have a bit more of an immersive experience with the camera. But when it comes to the abilities, I wouldn't mind seeing them automatically put me into what I like. If I pull out my bow, I don't necessarily want to tap target the bow. I wanted to always use action combat for that better damage because I have the skill in it or something.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's keep going.
Rework kind of combat not to be hybrid, I would lean more in favor of tab targeting with high mobility and a lot of template type attacks to kind of represent that more skill oriented
Dude, were those mushrooms moving?
combat. But I
Dude,
think
I
that
love
through
that.
testing in alpha and beta, but especially alphas, that we will be able to fine tune this so that it sits.
I love that water too.
Between the two different types of
that water looks so cool. How it's kind of teal on the edges and then it goes blue in the center. Oh, that is just cool.
There we go. Another thing
That
that's
is awesome.
About kind of these action combats is the ability to kind of dodge and kind of moving out of the way of certain skill shots. And oh, that's a death.
In 2 years, you're gonna have to upgrade. Yeah, man, probably.
Can't do that one.
Yo, fight it. Fight it.
Yeah, I literally bought my 2080 and NVIDIA released the 30 series the next day.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see players. Oh, here we go. It's going to be interesting to see essentially players kind of testing out this hybrid combat, seeing how it feels, getting an idea
Harvested
for
stone.
essentially the balancing that's going to be required and hosting different types of CC effects across the different targeting methods. And iterating on this, and you guys are going to be a part of that.
Steven is such a gamer; he can't not click on the shiny stuff.
I know, it's funny.
Normally, which we appreciate on our Discord or forums. Or
Reddit. I don't know, Holmes. I don't know.
It's always great to.
But look at it this way, man. You got 2 years, right? 2 years, a long time from now.
You know, Bacon made this crap.
I said NVIDIA just announced yesterday the 30 series.
I hope you guys enjoyed
it's be
taking a look
silly good
at the
pretty affordable as well.
Hybrid combat system, and feel free to leave some.
Hey, you signed up using that link, man. Thank you so much, Holmes. That helps me out. That really does.
Later.
All right. So with that, I feel like there's a lot of questions in chat that we've already answered quite a bit of in regards to blocking. Are there going to be more abilities than just the abilities that obviously they saw there? So I don't know if you want to kind of like touch base on some of those other things that you might have seen in chat. But again, I think a lot of those questions we've answered before, and this is early implementation again. So keep that in mind, everybody.
I think, one of the most important things is you guys are seeing that,
Twitch chat has
obviously
goofy
the team loves to see the excitement, the feedback about how great the game looks and all that kind of stuff. That's very important to us. But really what the purpose is of, going into these alpha phases is going to be is getting data, getting logs, getting the actual feedback from the players. And there's a long way to go in making combat what it needs to be. I've said this in the past, the design team knows this. We all know this. Combat is the most tactile system in the game. It's the thing you will experience most.
And he also said, guys, very important that you know this, he also said specifically that they have not started really working on the combat yet. The combat is something that they're going to be working on later. Right now, they wanted to make sure to put the time into making the world the way they want the world to be. The combat is coming later. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's another thing that's really important to know.
Most often. And outside of the systems and mechanics that are going to be present for kind of the overarching core gameplay loop, combat needs to feel
responsive. It needs.
See, I like that he says this. I like that he says it.
Mobile.
It makes you feel a little bit better.
To
give
a feeling of satisfaction. The audio components, the effects components, the animations themselves, the types of skills, and those types of things. All of those are really kind of our objective in fine tuning the approach for our combat in Ashes of Creation. And I just want to make sure that you guys are aware, as we go through these alphas, it's going to be rapidly changing. There might be several prototypes we attempt
I love it.
Play with the live audience.
That's good.
That's the best way, I think.
Holmes says the world did look really good. That volcano was impressive, and the foliage in the trees way more detailed and had motion. Yeah, it's really important to me. I love stuff like that. Not just that, I want to see their outfits reacting to weather, things like one thing of Final Fantasy. Is it Final Fantasy? No, not Final Fantasy. Maybe Final Fantasy does it too. But Black Desert Online. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you guys ever had a chance to play Black Desert Online. When you're outside in a rainstorm, your skin gets wet. It gets like all shiny. Your clothes, they look wet. They look like they're sopping wet. It's really cool when you're out killing enemies for, a long time. Your clothes that you wear start getting worn. You start seeing they're like, they go from being bright and clean to being like, scratched up and marked up and bloody and everything like that after you've been fighting for a while. So you have to go, and when you repair from a vendor, your clothes look brand new again. Really, really cool. I hope this game does that, because it's amazing. It would be impressive if they could make your character carry his battle scars on him throughout his journey like they were supposed to do way back in. Yeah, it's kind of sort of like what I'm talking about with that. I really like the idea of that.
That we as a development team can yield a successful system in combat is that type of iteration, that type of player involvement. Jeff?
Yeah, just getting that feedback from the players immediately. Like, that's one of the reasons why we've chosen to kind of expose ourselves this way rather than kind of waiting until we're about to launch to kind of let everybody know what we're planning on doing, right? Like, these are systems that combat specifically, where feel and flow is so important to how the game feels overall. And getting that feedback from you guys as you're playing it, early on, before we've really committed so far that we can't change it easily, is super important. So that's, again, like why we try to give you guys the inside baseball and everything that's going on with our studio, so that we can make those decisions and change direction as rapidly as we need to.
Yes. Yeah.
My lawnmower person just got.
You're worried about combats that you've seen where people run out of mana fast and there's no way to regenerate it. Yeah, it's just.
So actually, we'll see that with the upcoming video. Some of the support spells will be granting you mana. So like a healer thing isn't just healing you; it's actually giving you resources as well.
Okay.
But it'll be Alpha 1 and 2 is when I'm assuming they're going to hit combat hard, is when they actually have players on the server. But
that's another thing, right? That's what goes into the whole fact that they haven't really worked on combat yet. So,
but I like the idea of you're not just watching the health bar; you can also grant mana and things like that. That's kind of cool.
Action Nevertheless says action combat and hit detection is your concern. I think BDO has had one of the better implementations I've experienced, and Wildstar being one of the worst. Yeah, I don't remember Wildstar Bard class playing a mana song. Yeah, absolutely right. Bard class is going to play all kinds of songs too. I mean, that's the whole point of a Bard, right?
Got here, so people might be hearing my gardener going off.
Did you call him your lawnmower person?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. The gardener.
That's so great.
I just heard it go up, and I'm like, oh no, the lawnmower is going off.
It's like a transformer.
Yeah, it does. It sounds. I don't know.
That's so good.
But there were some questions regarding add-ons. Obviously, we've already talked about that. We're not going to allow add-ons. We've talked about blocking before.
I'm so happy they're not allowing add-ons.
in regards to skills and abilities and how many people will have access to?
Yeah, so the goal is not to.
I think for the game they're trying to build, it works best without them. Yeah, like if it was a World of Warcraft clone without add-ons, it would not work.
With
and thank God this game is not one.
To make sure that we're making good decisions about like how many buttons you actually need to press to accomplish a thing. But with that being said, this is also a build-based game, so how many buttons you are using kind of depends on you. You're going to be choosing between passives and active skills, and how you fill your hotbar is kind of up to you. So
one of the things we've said in the past, is the things that I've disliked, at least personally, about MMOs that I've played before is that, as you go through different phases of leveling, you have relevant skills. And then eventually, sometimes you end up with like a skill menu where you have half of them available, but none of them are relevant at your end game or higher level stages. We're trying to mitigate that as much as possible by making active skills capable of receiving additional skill point allocations and unlocking additional features, so that from a player agency standpoint, it's going to be up to you whether or not you want to be more diverse but less depth, right? Wider.
See, I like that.
Taller,
I like that
in some of these skill choices, or if you want to be very, very tall.
The choices you make should affect
that is
the outcome of battle or your experience.
Hotbars that you obviously have available, because you're going to have consumables, you're going to have active skills and whatnot. But the
all my
number
mounts.
of active skills,
I'm just kidding.
All your mounts, all your little pets, all your little minions
are not going to try to overwhelm necessarily the character and be kind of irrelevant, especially
Warhammer Online, best interface
like
ever. You could drag everything on screen and set it up easy.
Like that. We're really trying to make them be, you can move them around.
Hopefully do something
like that. So we'll try to we want to give you those tools and make them be part of the system. And if you have, features that you'd like in the future, obviously like those things will take time. But, when community managers are kind of taking in that feedback, we'll toss those over to the design team.
Okay.
And they'll take into account what things they want to add to the
so I recommend
as we progress. So keeping that in mind, we're definitely going to try our best to.
And I recommend that next time that they're going to do a development update, that you put that question on the thing and just ask about that.
Whether or not we open APIs.
Mention Warhammer Online, because I can guarantee you that they've played it and they know exactly what they're talking about. You know exactly what you're talking about. Here you go.
Whether it be from
here you go.
A resizing, a movement, a recoloring, different types of actual like UI flavors that will be presented in.
Yeah, if they're not, the thing about it, if they're not going to be having, and I think that they understand this. Yeah, I heard they played it. Okay, yeah. This is the thing. If they're not going to be including or allowing add-ons to be used, you have to understand that they're more than likely going to have those systems in the game, which is why they don't want you to use add-ons, because number one, you don't need to. And I think they're trying to stay away from certain toxic add-ons, like, DPS trackers and things like that. Add-ons that are basically designed, not necessarily designed, but contribute to toxicity in communities,
offered to players as well. We want to have a very, very
the lack of a DPS meter in Ashes makes a lot of sense because of how they're building up the combat.
More personally oriented in people,
where it's more reliant on your fellows giving out support and things like that.
Yeah,
at least from what they've said so far.
Anical says, my main question is, from understanding, it is not the same creating a fighter and selecting as second class cleric than creating a cleric and selecting second fighter. Both are Templars, but the main skills are different, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to see how that turns out. Actually, I don't know much about it.
He's right on the point. So a fighter is going to have like some base abilities, so something mostly like with his swords and his armor, things like that. And the cleric will buff those, whether it's like letting him cause holy damage or something like that. So think kind of like a rep paladin. Whereas a cleric fighter might have more healing abilities that can then kind of sideswipe and do a little bit more damage. It's just two different ways of going at it. But yeah, so that secondary class is always an augment to your primary. Is how it's supposed to go down.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for them to get a little bit more in depth on the classes. They haven't really share too much information on it yet.
Yeah, just don't suggest ever adding extra classes on the subreddit.
There's enough.
With me.
There's enough.
Because I had pointed out, it's like there's no druid variant, so there is no shapeshifter and there's no monk. And like down the road, when everything's kind of set in stone, we got everything. I would like to.
They will have a bard class.
I would like to have a druid and a monk class. And then there is a bard class.
Yeah. There is a bard class.
Can be a one size fits all.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to move on to the next video, which is going to
yes, please.
More Castle Siege oriented things?
Okay.
I do want to preface before we go to this video that obviously we've used.
I mean, I'm not super interested in Castle Sieges, but I mean,
we were and lose the mind.
I still want to know how it works.
Yes, and also I'd like to preface that
I thought you were going to be a big old guild leader.
Is really intended for like what
Castle Siege is not really my thing though.
Online by Alpha 1 for certain Castle Siege testing.
Small.
We did. Yeah, it's very small. So it's like maybe 1/4.
I'm more of the role play / node developer / endless explorer / destroyer of worlds, so that we can create something new. Not like, let me get this castle so we can be the number one. That does literally nothing for me. And Uncle says, my main purpose is PvP, something I find easy and always available, not once per week. Yeah, oh no, there's plenty of PvP. Yeah, that's definitely not one of my main things at all. Hero Vision Lineage 2 Castle Sieges were amazing to keep the large-scale PvP fresh. Yeah, okay. I'm going to be very popular in groups in AOC. Everyone loves a bard class buffs. Oh yeah, absolutely they do. Absolutely. Did you ever play Final Fantasy 11? Oh my god, forget about it, dude. Frickin' Bard was huge.
Quarter of the size of an actual castle at launch.
Huge.
And there will be a lot more, inner corridors and rooms and multiple portcullises and gates and stuff like that. We have shown in the past a little bit of the destruction physics of castles, so you won't see that in this video. We're just kind of taking you around and talking a little bit about the castle system for especially those of you who are new and might not have received a lot of information about castle sieges. That's kind of what this video goes over a little bit.
Right, switching over to that.
Oh,
hello,
the anteater.
Everybody.
The anteater amount.
To another video.
I told you.
We're recording.
I told you better view that volcano.
This is what I'm talking about here. Right? Hold on, let's see. Abigor says Hero Vision with the Castle Sieges, it gives PvE players a chance to take a break from PvE and find the fun of mass PvP. Oh yeah, absolutely. One thing I love, and you're going to notice it here, I can already tell, just right when you clicked over, I saw this lizard like moving. I love the movements. Pay attention right here, okay? Not only is this beautiful freaking erupting volcano in the background, but pay attention specifically to the way these mounts are moving and the way the characters move with the mounts. It's all unique. See how she is leaned forward and she has one hand on the whatever you call that, the rope, whatever you call that. I get brain farting right now. And then the other hand is like on the front of the saddle because she's trying to maintain her balance. Like watch. The anteater is kind of janky, yeah, but look at the lizard. Oh yeah. How can you sign up to the alpha? Well, the first thing you want to do, Ukresha, is you want to scroll down into the panels below and you want to click the image of Ashes of Creation and sign up on that website. Okay. Once you sign up on that website, you can go to the store, go to the home page and then go to the store, and you can go ahead and check out the packages that they have there now. But make sure you use that link that's attached to the image below to sign up to the website. Okay, it really helps me out. There's a link down below. Oh, okay, right on. Thanks. Let's rewind that, guys. I wanna let's rewatch that. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I noticed that right when they came into here. Look at this. Look at this.
Hello,
see how
everybody.
She's just sitting there normally?
Welcome to another
and then
video.
See, she has to grab. She has to grab. She has to, maintain
it is Thursday,
herself on there.
August
That's amazing. You see how this horse just moved, and then this character kind of waddled back and forth, and now she's like patting the horse, getting it to calm down.
Time. I am joined by Tiny Toast.
This is like I've never seen this before, and I love it. I love it.
And also by Leperzo.
Look at that! Look at that!
Margaret Crow.
I changed my character, and my other character's name is Leperzo, so here we are.
See, she's petting.
Just wanted to...
She's petting the lizard. You know what I mean? Because the lizard's kind of like rambunctious. She's like petting, dude, chill out. You know what I mean? Like relax, type of a thing.
Kind of showcase a little bit of the castle.
As
What'd you say?
she's going down, but all the mounts have been really great so far.
Oh yeah.
Implementation. We're just going to take you over near the castle and talk a little bit about it. You are still on the Alpha Island, but we are hoping to get castles online for some activity in Alpha 1. We're just going to kind of run around and show off the castle at its current state, which is owned by NPCs because no players have taken it. Want to head over there?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yee.
Just watch out for the mushrooms. There's a few of them on the way.
Oh, are there some mushrooms?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Look at the trot, the side view trot.
Let's do it.
Yee.
Look at the side view trot. Let me go to playback speed, go to 25%. Look, let's watch this. When it goes to the side view. Like, pay attention to the legs. Pay attention to its legs.
There's a few of them on the way.
See, look. See, look at that. That's so cool. I love it, dude. I love it. Even though I despise that mount.
I like that they allow something a little sillier into the game, that the game's not going to take itself too seriously.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
I had stuffed mushrooms last night. I put it in the food channel.
I want stuffed mushrooms.
Yeah, I saw that. That looked really good.
It was pretty yummy. I like how you're on
Will
that
players
scale
be
runner.
able to create stuffed mushrooms?
The
That's a
Scout
good
Runners
question.
cracks me up. Well, the mount you're on too is really funny.
Oh, the,
Yours looks
Desert
so
mount.
majestic with its long legs, like a gazelle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
Meanwhile,
gazelle.
me. Skip, 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 skip.
Your legs are so funny.
Dude,
up here
I
you can
love its
see,
legs.
One of the castles, probably those of you guys who participated in the apocalypse testing, recognize.
Look how
this castle.
it's like hunches over.
This is a bacon constructed castle. This is a little bit smaller than actually the size of the castles and how they'll actually be in the game at launch. But this kind of will be more facilitated.
Do they tour the
smaller
castles?
battles, I think,
We'll
in
see.
Alpha 1.
That'd be great if they did.
But initially, as probably most of you are aware, before players do actually take castles, they will be owned by monsters. So this one is currently owned by monsters. And basically how it's going to work is guilds will be capable of signing.
I really like the imperfections. Like here.
And
all
apparently
these...
this is actually a lot smaller than what it'll actually be.
Yeah. He just said that's really cool. And like right there, you can notice like some imperfections in the castles. Like I don't know if this castle is damaged or if it's just because it's just naturally weathered. I really like this.
Up to attack these castles, and
I'm curious. This is how it looks when it's still like occupied by monsters, or if it's been destroyed in like a siege or something.
Mm-hmm. And then it's like it's slowly starting. Yeah, it's fixing itself up. Yeah, I don't know.
But the guild that signs up to attack, multiple guilds may do so. They're going to initially be fighting these monsters and killing a raid boss that'll be kind of in the center of the castle. And what we're thinking right now is that in order to initially take the castle from the NPC control, rather than using the normal sealing mechanic that's cast on the center relic, instead the raid boss will be essentially killed by the number of players out there, and the highest contributing damage to the raid boss for the initial capture of the castle.
It's so funny because I'm watching this and I'm literally looking at these leaves blowing in the wind, watching the grass, watching this blue little light kind of sort of pulsating and everything. I'm just really intaking the background and all these little wisps or whatever the hell they are. Just really enjoying all of this. Remember, guys, this is not on max graphics or anything. This is just basic.
Now, real quick, because he had just said something. So, whenever you sign up in multiple guilds, sign up, it's whoever deals the most damage gets to keep
the castle.
That castle.
Okay.
And I'm very, very curious on how that's actually going to work out because they're going so staunchly against like DPS meters and stuff. So like.
Well, it's going to be a whole PvP thing at the same time, right? You're going to be in there, you're going to be fighting this raid boss, and then people are going to start, turning on each other. And once they get like the boss to a certain,
it's not last man standing. It's who does last.
Well,
who does the most
yeah,
damage.
but if you start killing off some of their high DPS people a little bit later on in the fight, that's going to tremendously lower their damage, right? So I don't know. Who knows?
To test this, obviously, we have a couple of other ideas as well.
Just because they don't have DPS meters does not mean that the game does not have its own meters built in, right?
Sure, but like the reason DPS meters are so integral to World of Warcraft is because all the PvE is built around zerging something down as hard as you can. 9 times out of 10, more healers or tanks, you just need to be able to do more DPS, and it makes everything easier. So I'm curious how they're going to balance out not having that while the game is still built for that kind of Zergish mentality, and if it's still not going to make something become a little bit more degenerate. Mm-hmm. It's just something that we'll have to see when, again, players interact with it. If it might be better to add optional ways of gaining a guild rather than just pure DPS, because it's going to.
Well, you don't know the raid boss that it's gonna have. The raid bosses could have mechanics or things like that. Holmes says, when he says guild, does he mean like a 5-10 man group or like 100+ guild? He's talking about a guild. He's talking about like a guild of people, whoever does the most damage guild. But I'm sure guilds are capped at a certain amount of players. Players versus players sieges can't be done by DPS. Why do you say player versus player castle sieges can't be done by DPS? I don't understand what you mean.
I think it's a specific guild will sign up and say, we are laying siege to this, and gather allies to be able to do so. That guild should take the control of it, I think. I'm not exactly sure how they're doing that yet.
I'm sure they have certain days that castles get sieged. Like certain days, certain times, just like Black Desert Online does. And people siege on those days.
So it's actually it's kind of like going to a DMV type thing. I would go and I'm going to put out a paper that'll say, hey, I'm going to siege your castle now. And what'll happen is 3 to like a few days afterwards, and during the prime hours, everybody in the server will get a notification. X node is about to be sieged. It'll happen at this time. And that way you can go and sign up, gather supplies, things like that. Mm-hmm. It's not like a rotating clock. It's whenever somebody pretty much declares war.
Okay, we're gonna keep going on this video, guys, because we're barely even halfway done.
There's so much in this video.
There's so much. No, it's okay. It's okay. I don't want this video to end up being like 3 hours long, although it's probably going to be.
And the betas is to test these ideas and see how they play out. Now, there's a lot of stuff outside of just killing, the raid boss that's important to take a castle. There are objectives in the interior of the castle, specific waypoints that you want to capture, and this will aid kind of in progressing to the raid boss eventually. But let's dismount and see if we can head in. I know we're only 3, but whoops.
I believe in us.
Yeah, I think we might be able to.
We'll have to use some GM hackery probably.
Yeah, I think the 3 of us combined with the tiny might of Tiny Toast and the strong staff of Lucarzo.
Whoa! That was cool. That blink.
I mean, you can see your reflection in my armor.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I love that
Pretty
armor.
majestic.
I like the little plume on top. Actually, let me take a look.
Le
at that.
plume. Damn, that armor's shiny as
That's
shit.
pretty cool. It's like waving in the wind, though. Like the physics is a little messed up on the weighting.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. All right, let's
That's
head
where
in
all
here.
your ideas come from.
Yeah. So you can see there, kind of interior. Like I said, this is smaller than what would normally be the castle size, but the relic is kind of exposed there. The raid boss isn't present at the moment. These guys are, they are elite mobs. So normally you would have a party, a full party, that would be fighting.
I love how they
these
both
dudes.
jumped in sync with each other. That was really cool. I do want to see that again. That was just so cool how that happened.
They are elite mobs. So normally
See,
you would
watch.
have a party, a full party.
Look at that. Boom! That was
That would be
sick,
fighting,
dude.
these dudes.
They both did the exact same ability at the exact same time. That was so cool to see.
Yeah,
You think that was some sort of a combo move? I don't think so. I've seen them do that move a lot. This is a regular
We are cheating
fireball
a
spell.
little,
Yeah, and
or at
again,
least
this
I'm
is-
cheating.
this is
You can
still
see
like the
other
alpha
party members
stuff.
have,
What is that?
points.
So a lot of people are worried about like
myself up.
animation locks and stuff. Oh, this is her
Give
like
you some
giving
mana.
mana and stuff like later on as well.
No, that whole freaking that blast of freaking
No, I can
lightning
feel
or ice or whatever the hell that was. That was
The
amazing.
mana friendship.
Like when Iron Man blasts a beam of Cap's shield. Yeah, I see what you're saying. And you gotta remember, guys, it looks like... You gotta remember, guys, it looks like a lot of, you know, like it's taking them forever to kill these enemies. You gotta remember, this is designed to have like many people attacking these enemies.
Yeah. Get 2 mages in here.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Let's switch into action, or actually, let's see. I'm gonna train the room.
It's trying to kill us.
Oh, I have a lot of hit points. You guys, let's see. Oh no. Oh god.
Someone's on my butt.
Oh, some little flowers in here.
What was he doing?
Wait for it.
Oh
Okay,
no, he
Wait.
reset.
These guys are always
Where'd you
set.
go?
I kind of ran into the center. I was seeing whether or not the
Ooh, I'll follow you.
boss had spawned yet. Where's the?
Here I come.
Yeah, let's come with me. Another important thing to note, by the way, I think we need a full group for this stuff, but another important thing to note is, you know, during the siege, these gates will be closed, the portcullises will be closed, all of the
Yeah, and you gotta
walls
bust through
are
'em, huh?
destructible. You guys have seen.
Abigorf says if the castle is owned by monsters, the ownership will go to whoever's guild does the most DPS. If the players own the castle, how do they protect the castle from? Or the player? No, that's different. It's different. They have to fight. They have to defend it, right? They have to defend the room. They have to defend the relic. You know what I mean? They have to make sure to kill the enemy, kill the other team, and don't let them siege their walls, right? I'm sure that there's a way that you can repair the walls while they're being destroyed. I'm sure there's a way that you can do that. The whole idea of there being a raid boss and stuff like that is only, I believe, it's only when it's occupied by monsters. Or the players defending the castles have to protect the NPCs that are attacking the players have to kill. Maybe it's that way. Like, I don't know. We'll definitely have to see how it actually turns out.
Seen some of the destruction videos in the past, kind of how this stuff happens. But players will be able to come prepared with siege weaponry. They'll have trebuchets. They'll have the ladder things. What are those things called? I can't remember now. To towers, the siege towers that they can utilize. I'm just kind of running around out here.
We're trying to kill this thing.
Oh no, you guys are gonna die for sure.
Yeah, you guys are gonna die for sure.
But yeah, we're aiming to have some of the basic castle functionality present for Alpha 1. Those of you guys who I don't know if we showed actually any of the castle siege testing in Apocalypse, but
Why is he not helping out?
He froze me.
oh, how did he freeze you?
I've been blocked.
Oh,
That
he's
is
an
really
occultist.
cool.
He is. He's got some of the same moves I do. Throwing them back at me.
Probably gonna make him leash. It's a good thing I cheated and put my health up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's cool how he can fight through his ice block.
What are some of the favorite sieges you guys have participated in the games you've played?
I've really loved Warhammer Online's PvP and Dark Age of Camelot. Like, both of those were probably my favorite experiences.
Elder Scrolls Online was a really good experience in PvP, I feel.
I think this may actually be the first time where I'm participating in large-scale Siege PvP personally, so I am super excited to jump in and test and try out all this stuff with you guys.
Ooh, that's kind of cool. You've
Or
never
it might
done
have
large-scale
been
sieges?
back in, like, if we're thinking of Ragnarok Online, I think had some sieges. But that's probably the last time I did.
Did it?
Kicking it back old school.
We're in a circle around this thing. Ragnarok Online, yeah, that's pretty cool. I also enjoyed Warhammer Online. That was a great game.
Yeah, I didn't care so much for the PvE content, but the PvP content I really liked, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it was. I liked the arenas that they had in Warhammer Online.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I'm totally infatuated with that freaking volcano. Is it erupting now because like the node was just got to a certain level and now it's erupting for a certain amount of time, or is it just perpetually erupting? I don't know.
I think right now
know.
it's perpetually erupting because it's the Alpha Island.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun to me.
And some of the way that their abilities worked and stuff like that. As a tank, I thought it was really cool how I could like take the damage for somebody else and stuff
Excuse
like that.
me, sorry.
Really
Oof.
Yeah. Another important thing to note about castles in Ashes is that they... Actually, no, we should be facing the camera. There you go. Let's go like that.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Get close,
Yeah.
smile.
Yeah. Another thing to note about the castles is they do
Too close, Toast.
have
Too close.
a lot of trophies for the guilds that manage to take them and keep them. As a matter of fact, the benefits for holding a castle actually get greater the longer a guild holds on to its castle. So each cycle, which is a 30-day cycle before it gets sieged again, the benefits of the castle get stronger. They exert control and pressure over the region, one of the 5 main economic regions they exert control over. They can levy taxes against the nodes under them. They can establish essentially the quote-unquote king's presence or queen's presence within the node system that grants benefits to the citizens that are under its rule. And they can have special relationships established with the mayors as well to help participate in kind of building up the nodes that spawn around the castle, these castle-dedicated nodes. They're not tied into
Holmes, it
the
does sound
structure
cool.
of the general world node structure, but they're kind of dedicated to helping to build up the castle's defenses and the economic benefits that come along with owning the castle. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little insight to one of the castles that is
Very
now
much
present
so.
in Alpha 1, and we'll see you guys back on stream.
It seems like y'all liked that and enjoyed it, and you got a little Toast cameo in there. Sure as cracks me up. I know there were a few comments and concerns in regards to obviously the difficulty of that, because as Steven said, you're going to have to like break down gates. You're going to have to like kind of progress and push. It's not going to be that easy. We're just kind of showing like
Just to be clear, when we were running in there, so when the castle siege occurs, it'll be different than what you saw there. That's just kind of in its unowned state. If there's no owner, there will be little monsters.
I figured it would be something like that.
Kind of go in and fight on the off siege time when it's not siege time. Then when siege time occurs, guilds will have a week period of time where they can kind of register and come and attack. And during the 2-hour long siege,
that's when everything changes. The portcullises go down, the gates go down, you'll need siege weaponry. There's going to be specific objectives within the castles that you'll have to conquer, and then there'll be, if it's an unowned castle, it'll need to have a raid boss at the center that kind of gets fought for. Attackers can fight each other during that experience. It's going to be a contesting thing. Once the castle is owned by,
I like that how he says the attackers can fight each other.
Supporting castle nodes start to come online and spawn each week prior to the 4th week castle siege.
Yeah, Steven had talked about like a couple of PvP places he was in where battles will go on for multiple days.
Yeah. I remember him saying that, how he logged off, went to sleep, woke up like 3 hours later, and the fight was still going on.
Okay, it looks like he's designing the Castle Sieges system to be exactly that, like those old.
Well, no, because he said 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
He said it's a 2 hour length.
That type of thing. So there's a lot of systems that go into the castle sieges. Really, we were just kind of showing off the castle itself and kind of running around and the little monsters that are present there. So.
Yeah, and the AI is not finalized either.
Like it is, it's all kind of populated for the level ranges that we're going for right now, and only really populated for group content. These will actually be raid level stuff, so you're going to need really large raids in order to kind of take these things from the NPCs who live there, and then also contest with other guilds that are also trying to do the same thing. So it's not exactly representative. It's a good approximation maybe, but certainly is not going to be what the final thing is going to look like.
100%. And there something that might not have been revealed previously, but each week leading up to the siege week, right? So it's a 4-week period of time that the castle is owned. Each week is a week that's dedicated to one of the 3 castle dedicated nodes. So around the castle, there are 3 nodes. They represent week 1, 2, and 3. And then the 4th week is the siege against the castle. Those can only be elevated up to stage 3. We've discussed this, in the past, and there's definitely information out there on the community ran wiki and other stuff. But what we haven't expressed is that on the tax collection side, castles do collect taxes from their region, which encompasses 1/5 of the world territory, and within those regions are nodes that spawn, right, naturally. And at the end of each week, there is a period of time on the weekend where NPC generated caravans from those nodes start moving towards one of the castle nodes. And during that period of time, it's incumbent on the owning guild and its allies, or even the citizens of the nodes that fall under its purview, to escort those caravans to the castle's dedicated one of 3 nodes. Those caravans carry the castle taxes. So the incentive to essentially attack those caravans as they move to build the castle dedicated nodes on the enemies of that guild are very high, not only because of the reward that you can reap in kind of sabotaging that tax collection, but also in destabilizing or reducing the defensive capability.
Yeah, you're gonna freaking gimp them. You're gonna gimp them when it comes time for them to defend the castle on siege day. On siege day, they're gonna have less capabilities of defending their castles because you straight up took their money. They can't hire mercenaries. They can't, you know what I mean? They can't purchase all these things to help boost up the defense capabilities of the castle and things like that. Yeah, I love this. I love this idea.
Ability of the castle itself, because it depends on those dedicated nodes.
I really like the idea. I'm so excited for it from a gameplay perspective, but I'm so jaded from just being on the internet for so many years.
The purview of the castle may not participate in the attack.
I don't know how it'll work.
They are automatically registered as the defenders of those caravans. And that's important because certain benefits, it's a reciprocal relationship between the castle and its nodes, essentially. There are benefits granted to citizens of the castle, and the longer that the castle remains in the hands of its incumbent guild, the stronger the benefits become overall. But at the same time, that represents a greater incentive to attack the castle because the rewards will get greater over time also. So just to give you a little bit more information, on it.
And
let's give you a little information on it.
Steven really loves zooming all the way out with his camera. You can totally zoom in with your camera. You don't have to have it zoomed out that far.
That's true. I'm one of the zoom out MMO players. I know that there's a spectrum of people and where they live on that from a zoom standpoint, but I love seeing everything around me.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. In the same way.
You know, I used to have a large guild and we had large raids, and I always had to kind of like know what was going on all over the place.
So, yeah, I think for raids, I
like
max,
knowing what's going on at all times.
When I'm just running around and stuff, I kind of like give the cinematic zoom in, you know. But I noticed some comments in regards to that, so I just wanted to make a note of it.
Yeah, that's actually a conversation me and Steven have a lot, where hey Steven, is this camera distance okay?
Yeah, Jeff hasn't said much today, has he?
Must have maximum zoom.
And there was a question regarding like first person, like if you can zoom in and like see things first person. I'm assuming we'll allow that as well.
You could zoom in, but
there's been a whole lot of like game stuff. It's mostly just seeing what they've already built.
Arms, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, yeah, you could zoom all the way into your character and get that kind of camera perspective from the eyes, but you're not going to get any of the correlating typical first-person animations with arms and stuff like that.
Yeah, so like similar to a lot of other MMOs out there.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've covered both of those. We still have a lot more to go through, and we don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to swap us over. So there's going to be a weird screen situation for a moment. If y'all give me a moment for that. Their cameras are so tiny. Their cameras are actually better quality than that. It's just because I'm screen sharing with them.
These nodes kind of get constructed in real time, and it's semi-procedural. Obviously, there's parameters that we set, and you know, those parameters.
This looks like the dwarven. What is it, Denmark or what? Denmark. What do they call the dwarves?
Designs for both sieges as well as the roads.
Yeah, dwarves.
And the location of specific.
What is this?
Services and/or merchants. But what that ensures is that every node will have a unique appearance. It will be distinct to itself.
I think in game they're called like or something like that.
Yo, so is this like a level 3 to 4 node brazier or whatever the hell this would be called, and then node 4 to 5 it changes and it becomes this, and 5 to 6 it turns into this? So it's kind of not like when you have like a big metropolis, you're not going to see these little piddly freaking dude. That's cool. How often do they do this development update? Once a month, guys. So I mean, if you're enjoying watching, you know, us reacting to the development update, you know, make sure to hit that follow button and keep it here. You know what I'm saying? For sure I will, and I know Maezriel's really interested in Ashes of Creation too. We're both going to be creating content for Ashes of Creation for, I mean, honestly, foreseeable years to come. So.
And even if it gets leveled up multiple times, there's an opportunity there where the node platform
that is so cool
for each progression, so to speak. And this is great from an immersion standpoint, obviously, because you're not going to see cookie cutter type, nodes you're not going to see cookie cutter type city layouts and node designs. It's going to be fresh kind of each time. And they're not going to be like, oh, this is every node's a rectangle kind of thing. They're going to be natural, immersive, looking like normal cities and stuff.
Yeah, and so this next one is kind of the lamps, and you can kind of see the progression as, it goes from, a town all the way up to
Metropolis.
Metropolis-ish. It depends. And maybe another stage in there, but kind of gives you.
No, you can kind of see the node 3 and 4 is like village and town. Node 4 to 5 is like
city,
town to city, and then node 5 to 6 is city to metropolis. So you can kind of get a sense there.
Mm-hmm. And then the next one we have here is also some Dunir braziers.
Oh, okay. So those weren't
not braziers.
Okay. Brazier.
Yes, we know.
It's like weird words, man. English. But yeah, it's really cool seeing like the different progression and like the style and how fancy.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this.
Go up.
Look at this node. This very, very basic node 1 to 3. And then it turns into this, and then this node 6. And then, okay, this looks like it would be on top of something. This probably wouldn't necessarily be on the ground. These would be on the ground, it looks like. Starts with this, node 1 to 3. Okay, so you have multiples. You have multiples. 4,
Yeah, it looks
5,
like there's a
and
lot
6.
of variants. So I'm hoping they're all kind of intermixed where we can, because it'll just help the city feel a little bit more alive.
Damn it, it's raining tomorrow. I mean, it's raining right now. That sucks. I really want them to fix my air conditioner tomorrow. Oh, it's burning. Okay, let's keep going. I love it, though. I love it.
This is really kind of a testament to not just...
Well, they gave me a window unit, and it's like I'm roasting right now because, I mean, even though it's like 4 in the morning, I'm literally roasting right now because I shut my air conditioner and my window unit off because it's directly next to my mic so that I could record this video. So I just want to get through this so that I could turn it back on. I'm dying.
The concept artists on the team and their great job kind of showing off these ideas, but also to the environment team and just the sheer realm of possibilities that we're going to include in the game.
We got to do this earlier next time, though.
Architecture and building standpoint, but also reflected in the prop designs as well. So a lot of these props are going to, not necessarily be reused. You're not going to see the same brazier present.
I like that.
In the Metropolis stage as you would in the Village stage. It's
I really do.
To be immersive and make sense visually as players see progression, because these are the central hubs of really the game. This is where pretty much every system...
I'm just going to fast forward a little bit, guys.
And then the next one we have here are kind of like a bunch of different bookshelf options.
I don't want to miss anything,
a lot of effort into
but
even the smaller little pieces that you're going to see on that front as well.
The little stuff in between is not really that important. Okay, I like this. I like this a lot.
A little shorter. You can see the little dwarf there next to them as well for scale.
Okay, so these are different versions. They're not necessarily for
I don't know if they'll be able to get to the top shelf there. Maybe if you
they're not necessarily for
that's my life,
nodes
man.
1 through 6. It's all varies.
I always have to carry around one of those little stuff.
I guess it depends on the building, the type of building it is, where the bookshelf is located.
Scale. Pretty much, yeah. Or toast. We're both shorties. And then the taller bookshelf is...
Dude, I like this one right here, to be honest. Oh,
so pretty.
cool.
Even like the little details on like where the shelves interlock with the sides of the...
These two look exactly the same, dude.
It's really pretty too.
Yeah, I will say, one thing that's
I don't see anything. Oh, okay, it has a difference up here.
To me, when kind of setting out to make Ashes of Creation, is not just
okay, and this art here, this detail right here is not here,
but making sure that
but there's detail here that's not here.
Minute detail point that really this project is created to a certain level of
this is great, dude.
Of detail that is representative of the quality we want you as players to experience.
So far we've only seen the dwarven stuff. We haven't really seen very much of the other races, I don't believe. So I really am excited because I'm really liking the dwarven stuff. Also the legs are different. Yeah. I noticed that right here. The legs are different from here to here.
Immersions.
I mean, this is obviously way different than these two, but
for myself and for the team, and we want to make sure that experience is whole, is really from the bottom to the top. Players.
Oh, what is this?
Immersed in this world and.
Okay. Oh my god. What is this?
So there's going to be a little bit of the in the engine stuff, but you can probably skip ahead a little bit. They'll actually show you it in game.
What is this though? Tortoise Caravan? Oh, so do you sit right here?
Fast forward a little.
I don't want to miss this. It's so cool. I want to sit there. Oh my god. Oh, look at its neck. Oh, that's fucking adorable, dude. I need to have one. Oh, that's dude, yo, I'm freaking, come on, dude. Really, guys?
Like I said, wait till you see it in game and like the weight it has in the game. It feels really good.
And it swims. Okay, let's see it in game. Oh my god, it's huge. It's a mount?
There you are. Listen to that sound.
Yes. Oh my gosh, this is literally like jaw-dropping to me. This is freaking jaw-dropping to me. Dude, look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Look at that lighting. Coming from World of Warcraft, I'm so stupid jealous of any game made in a modern engine.
Look at that. Look at that. God, it's so cool. I could literally just have this pet and lay down in bed and put my screen on and just watch it eat and be at peace. Yeah, I'm freaking weird. This is cool as shit. Like, this is amazing. This is the most beautiful, most interesting, just cool designed mount that I've ever seen in a game. Hey Kim, how you doing? Oh my god, I love this. Dude, this, oh, I can't get over it. Look at this, Kim. Look at this. Look at this. Look at it. Look at this. Look at his neck. Oh my god. Oh, forget about it, dude. It's like, I have to have it, dude. Yo, hey, well, thank you so much for the follow, man. Dude, I gotta have this. Did they say how you get it? It's so fluffy! I gotta have it! Oh my god, I love it so much. Oh. Where do they go?
Oh, that's cool. We
That's
have very
romantic.
pretty little backgrounds.
That was weird.
Yeah, that's
So
what
starry.
my background is, a star background, because obviously I love space and stuff. So that's
Kim, do you know anything about this game, Ashes of Creation? Have you looked into it?
But I love turtles, so I love that.
I like turtles.
So you guys are aware that is the
Shell of the Ancients.
Shell of the Ancients, yeah. Shell of the Ancients. That was something that was limited to last year. I think it was last year, in one of the months. But it's always nice for you guys to take a look at, as these things kind of come online, you see, from the modeling perspective to the animation to the sounds to the eventually in-game.
Not the TeamSpeak sounds.
I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's, you guys heard the TeamSpeak sound there. Yeah, so you guys get to see kind of that and really kind of understand the process and quality that goes into creating these assets.
Yeah, and we'll have other turtles and other different mounts that are coming out. We're just we don't want to show off.
Thank
too
you for
much of
that,
the stuff
Kim. Thank you so much for that.
Seen in that realm, because we want stuff to be some semblance of a surprise.
Okay, Awolf. Is it an exclusive mount? Did they say, because I was fast forwarding through stuff, did they say how you get the mount?
I haven't seen any of the
I need to have that mount, guys.
Mounts like that, and we just saw all those mounts like in a small camp. I think that's going to be a regular mount.
The way that mount just plopped up and slammed on the ground and made that the cutest thing I've seen in my life. I have to have it.
Some surprises, yeah.
Yeah, some creature. We have some cool creatures that are in the works that we haven't quite shared, but I think it'll be cool when people get to experience that in, Alpha 2 when we swap over to the new creatures and things like that.
Hey, I see people in chat hating on TeamSpeak. I will have you know, TeamSpeak is TeamSpeak's a very good app, and it has
It's very
lot
mature.
It's very.
They said that one was from a year ago. I'm kind of really pissed. I've never seen something like that that's so amazing in my life in any game. Hands down, period. The most awesome mount I've ever seen. And it's a freaking exclusive thing from a year ago. The other turtles that they have in the game better animate like that.
Mature. It has
That's all I have to say, dude. That's all I have to say.
Functions that
like, oh my gosh.
But it has a lot of administrative functions from a professional
All we have is
standpoint.
all it is selling is skins. I don't think any of the animations should be any different.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, they're not gonna. I mean, still.
That are best in kind of utilizing from a virtual office standpoint, and it's been very beneficial. We have Discord as well that we do, activities in as a company, and then TeamSpeak we kind of use as our virtual office.
They should, you know what? They should at least when they give you the option to purchase the mounts or something, when they show them, they should at least, instead of just showing a freaking, just a picture of it, some art of it, they should actually show some of the animation so you know what you're getting. Because there's so many people that probably did not buy it, like, oh, I don't want a turtle, and now they see the freaking thing like retreating into its shell and plopping on the thing and freaking making all these weird noises, like, oh my god, I didn't get that freaking turtle. Like, you have to have this turtle. You know how many more of those turtles they would have shown, or have sold, if they had that animations? Like, I would literally pay like $50 for that fucking turtle right now. Okay, I wouldn't, but let's act like I would, okay, for the sake of the video. Okay, it's really cool though. I'm butthurt, not gonna lie. Look at the exclusive stuff for this month. Firefox is literally the best thing ever. I'm probably gonna buy it. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that fox is gonna be lit on a bard.
And communication and whatnot. But moving on to our next thing here, we have.
Okay, quick question, guys. Do you know if the skins that you purchase, are they account bound? Are they account wide? So do you use them on the account forever, and every time you create a new character, can you still have it, or is it like a one and done type of a thing? Like whatever character you claim it on.
I'd be very, very, very surprised if you paid up to $125 for all the cosmetics for one character.
Some Valoon leather that is made by Carson. It's not completely done yet, but
I gotta have it.
Things. So you can kind of see that. Yeah. I really love the style.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Valoon have a heavy kind of Middle Eastern influence in their culture, and you can see that kind of represented here in the leather set that Carson's working on.
And then we have the Kalar robes here.
Ooh, I like those robes a lot, dude.
Before of this previously, but now you get to see it with all the textures.
Account bound, you can move the skin on different mounts, but only one at a time. You can move between characters, but only one at a time. Again, okay. It's pretty. Dude, I wish I could zoom in, but you can see.
Set is a level 20.
You can see the detail in this. Like if you were to scroll, like really scroll in, you would be able to see like the canvas and the everything that it's like, all the details in there. Really cool. Like all the fibers and everything. That if it wasn't account bound, I wouldn't be spending $200 this month. Oh, you're buying the Firefox shit, dude? Right on, man. Right on, brother.
This is not a cosmetic. This is an in-game achievable armor set, I believe.
Yeah, it's a base look.
God, I need freaking oil this chair, dude.
And then our next one here is made by Ali or Eli. The Aegis of Vigilance, and some of you might recognize this one. I think we had a fan that created this as well, which was cool, like in our fan art.
Oh yeah. One thing I love about these types of shields is just the sheer length, that kind of tower shield look. I don't often see that in MMORPGs. They're kind of a large.
I love that, dude. It's literally calling to me. Nothing they make can top that. It gives me life. Are you talking about the stupid Firefox or that amazing turtle? I'm gonna buy the Firefox.
I think the way we have set up.
Probably. We'll see.
Y'all are sleeping on that fireboat.
The fireboat? I didn't even see the fireboat. We'll see. We'll look at it after this.
Yeah, but this is the completed art. Excuse me. This is the completed official piece in game. So, what was the name of the shield? What was it called?
The Aegis of Vigilance.
Aegis of Vigilance, got it.
Aegis of Sexiness. I freaking love it, dude. Look at these imperfections right here and here and there and right there, and just I love it. Like all these like little dents, and I love it. Like how this right here looks kind of rusted right here and just so cool. The detail is amazing.
Stephen gave a little.
But I'm not gonna lie, you see all this gear with amazing detail, and then you look at this. And I get it, pre-alpha, maybe they're going to change it, but this whole thing is like atrocious. Their face, the way their body is, like I'm not going to lie, I despise it.
It's the head scale.
It's just, I really don't like it at all. I think it's actually terrible. But again, pre-alpha could change, right? I don't know how much they've worked on their character model, but everything else is so detailed and so amazing. What the hell is up with their grill, dude? It just doesn't make sense. The fireboat is tempting, but I feel like they'll make a better one before. I don't like the outfits that much. The outfit isn't necessarily my problem. With it, it's really the face.
A little bit of the accoutrements are adjusted for the feminine form. And yeah, let's check it out. It looks great. This one.
Accoutrement, she says. I like that.
We're liking it. Yeah. We have amazing artists, so we just kind of like love having them all share, you know, a couple pieces of art background. Stephen, maybe.
Sure. I have 20 minutes before I have to do a hard stop, so.
Okay. We'll try to get through.
As many as we can.
Try to get through at least 10 of them. So our first question here is from Archie McQueen, and just so you guys know, we do post a week before our live stream. We always let you know in advance when the live stream is going to happen. So stay tuned on our social. Follow us there. They're right below me right here. And we always let you know whenever you can submit questions. So got to get in there fast. But I know Toast kind of randomizes it so that, you know, no matter where you are in the thread, you might see your question here. So Archie McQueen wants to know, in the aftermath of a node siege, when freeholds can be attacked, are these attacks only allowed for participants of the siege, or can other players come as raiders to lay waste to freeholds as well?
In its current design, it is possible for anyone to attack the freeholds, not just the attackers. That might be changed. We'll see how testing goes. But at the moment, essentially what happens is the freehold becomes vulnerable for a period of time. And then after that period of time, there is a grace period extended for the freehold if it survives that vulnerable period. And that grace period could last up to 1 week, where if another node spawns at stage 3 or above and it falls under that node's zone of influence, the owner of the freehold can choose to undergo a quest/process by which the freehold would then be adopted by the new node.
All right, our next question is from Nixa, which is, does gear held in your bags, not equipped, lose durability when you die?
No.
Our next question is from King Yosi. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, sorry. Are artisan crafts and their progression affected in any way by race, religion, class, or archetype?
Artisan classes and their professions are not affected. That system is wholly independent of other character choices.
And then Yorkie wants to know, are there plans for level 50 to be a soft cap when you can still level beyond it?
Yes.
Albeit it might
I hope so.
At a slow rate, requiring lots of experience. So, like, I guess if you can like have overload experience.
Okay, what I would like them to do. Have you guys ever played Diablo 3 or Final Fantasy 11? Where they have in Final Fantasy 11 they had something. I don't know if they still have it because they increased the level cap. Yes. Yes.
I wouldn't get your hopes up. Keep playing the video for a little bit.
Oh. Okay.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, there's not infinite progression in those systems. That would be a difficult thing to essentially balance.
Yeah. No, it's really not.
So there's going to be
also when we had expansions, people would just like auto level. It would be weird.
Well, there's ways that you could restrict the progression to specific skill, components.
Yes, exactly.
There's not infinite progression.
But we do have a lot of systems where there's still progression to be made, right? Where you hit level 50, that's not it. Like there's a lot of other systems that you can engage with in progression.
Yes. Okay.
Religions and organizations and all sorts of other things.
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it anyways. Okay, if you guys played Diablo 3. Or Final Fantasy 11. Final Fantasy 11 had like a merit system once you hit level 75, okay? And Diablo 3, I think what's the cap? Level 50, 60, 70, whatever the cap is, level cap is in Diablo 3. I can't remember what it is. Anyways, what you do is once you hit those level, you hit the max level, you can't level any higher than that. However, you can still earn experience points, and once you gain a level, once you gain a merit level, or once you gain a level, you get a merit point or a paragon point or something like that. And you can choose to put that point into somewhere that's going to improve your character, make your character stronger, whether it's like additional strength, additional block chance, additional evasion, additional this, additional that. And all these different things have caps, okay? And what it does is it gives you the ability to almost, not always, but almost infinitely progress your character and always be making some sort of progress on your character if you really, really like your character and things like that. And then you can have things in the game like content that doesn't cap, dungeons that you can set difficulty levels on to make them even stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger based on what rank you want to put it on. And when you put it on those higher ranks, it gives you a higher chance at dropping, higher tier or, more expensive items, things like that. So you can do it. Games can do it. I just found the whole idea of a level cap as being like, this game is really, really doing something new. Level caps are just old. They've been doing them since MMOs first started. There's no reason to do a level cap. That the whole idea of having your game cap at level 50 and now the expansion comes, yay, it's level 60, guys, gain those extra 10 levels, and new areas are added, and then this expansion comes, okay, guys, you get to level to 65 now, 5 whole more levels. It's just really like, it's tired. You gotta have something more than that. That's all I'm saying. What do you say? Aewolf says, I hate level caps. If they max, it'll just bring making. Yeah, I agree. Well, you cap at 50, but you will keep lose experience when you die, and you can lose it till you stats lower as level. Yeah, but I mean, that's not really necessarily gonna happen all the time. I enjoy playing multiple. Hold on, let me read one more. I enjoy playing multiple classes, and if there is enough PvE, it doesn't matter. Max level, it's 45 days, 6 hours at max. I see what you're saying. Okay, what are you gonna say?
For me, I'm just gonna have to wait and see how it plays, since there are so many other systems for us to progress in. Maybe the personal character isn't as important because, of course, we have like the castles and everything else, like our nodes that we can concentrate on. So I don't know. For me, it's I have to wait and see. Like if this was like ESO coming out with a level cap, I'd be like, yeah, you're right. It's kind of boring, and it doesn't really future-proof the game very well.
Mm-hmm.
But for Ashes, with everything else we have going on, I think it might work out okay.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how they do it. I'm really interested to see how they're going to do it. I just find the whole idea of level caps just to be just so like 2005. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're doing so many new things. Think outside of the box with levels is all I'm saying.
I will say,
since equipment
as a devil's advocate. Yeah, I'll let you read that first.
No, okay. Since equipment breaks with multiple enchants and must be repaired too, I see a lot of content already. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I see that. I see what you're saying there. What were you saying?
So the devil's advocate for keeping a level cap would be that we have 36 unique classes, and it supposedly takes you like 45 days.
Okay, they're not unique classes.
Consistent playtime. Well,
they're not unique classes.
We have X amount of classes. It supposedly takes you like a little over a month of consistent play to get even to the level cap, let alone anything else. Without that cap, it feels very bad to try to play a different character and alt when you feel like you're always losing progression on that other character because there's an infinite amount of it. I know that kind of happened with World of Warcraft and Legion. There was no real cap with the artifacts that you were grinding up, so it felt like you were
I will say that that's not
anytime you switch to another spec.
I will say I've played multiple games that did that. I played Elder Scrolls Online, I played Final Fantasy 11 and Diablo, and it never felt that way. It never felt when I played alts or when I leveled other classes, I never once felt like I was losing productivity on another class because of the fact that I was playing alt. Never felt that way at all.
Yeah, but the progression is significantly faster. It's not a month long just to get there.
If the game is what they promised, I wouldn't mind paying $500 for a lifetime subscription. Yeah, do they have a lifetime subscription? That's crazy. Do they even have a lifetime? Is there a $500 lifetime subscription?
I think that was part of the Kickstarter, wasn't it?
I don't know. All right, let's keep going.
Give you augments, which can change the way your skills work and change the way your character kind of.
I mean, all in all, I'm loving this development update.
50 is not the end of anything.
Was the top Kickstart packet. Okay.
Thanks, Jeff. And then Ventherian wants to know, when Stephen mentioned flight paths in his interview with Asmongold, was he referring to the Scientific Metropolis's airship system or something?
What do you mean it's gone now?
Something else.
No, the Metropolis airship system is really a connector between other metropolises and or different regions, so to speak. That kind of helps to facilitate a faster travel point. The travel system I was talking about with Asmongold, that's more geared towards within a specific region. So you can move from node A to node C within region 1, right? And those regions
people have built those.
Exactly, correct, yes.
All right.
Lifetime sub can't be bought now. Oh, okay, that's fine.
Antivictus. And I think this is specifically, I'm going to preface it a little bit for you, Stephen, as well, is because you had mentioned that in PvP, you'll be able to identify a user user's class by an icon. So their question is, will each of the 64 classes have their own specific icons?
Yes, each class will have its own icon, and not only will you be able to identify by their icon, but you'll be able to hover over the user's nameplate, and it will give information such as level. You'll be able to see the quick buff icon for their gear grade and type, and then hovering over the nameplate will give you their class name as well, and it will show you next to that the combination in case you don't know the class name.
All right.
Yeah, the goal is to.
What's up, guys? How you doing, man?
The archetype real fast, right? So you can kind of get a sense of at a glance what you are, and then more detail will give you the specific subclass. And then if you really want to dig in, you can go and get all that other information.
When it comes to life bars and everything like that, Andical, they already said earlier on in the dev update that the UI is going to be extremely customizable. You can make it the way you want to make it. Okay, so just keep that in mind.
Awesome. Zimzam wants to know,
Zimzam,
how do you plan to keep Ashes of Creation feeling and looking modern 10 to 15 years down the road with its realistic graphics as compared to a more stylized look? A good question.
One of the great things about using Unreal Engine
see, the thing about it is I don't really think it has realistic graphics. Okay, realistic graphics, yeah, but not a realistic art style. This art style is very, very high fantasy. You know what I mean? And you got to remember, everything that you guys are looking at here, all this stuff you guys are is not on max settings. This is all, low settings, right? you know, and everything is turned, like all the effects and everything, they're turning the effects up on low settings because they want to see how, you know, the game runs and everything, because they want to basically when they optimize the game, they want to optimize the game for low settings so that they know what they're working with, and then they can adjust later on, you know.
Is that it has a lot of support from Epic,
so it's going to look even better than this if you have a good computer.
They're talking about like something like World of Warcraft that's so stylized that it's practically timeless.
Well, it is, it is very stylized. It is because it's different type of graphics. Yeah, I know what you're saying. But I don't know, man. When you look at a game that's like this, that's the graphics are like this good, it's not one of those things where you can honestly, I don't know, I can't ever imagine the time where I'm gonna look at it and say this looks like shit.
The big thing is we now actually have AI programs that can take models from inside the game and increase its pretty much increase its resolution, make it into a high res model with minimal dev work. So it's something that I know Unity and that both engines are working on continuing to improve. So it could be that we actually start seeing longer lasting games with where the graphics don't deteriorate the longer they go on, because the engines themselves will naturally start upgrading the graphics.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Gotta Go says, last thing that gets me worried is that they have ex-Blizzard and Diablo 4 devs designing it. Why would that make you worried? Those games are both extremely highly successful.
I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
he's not worried about it because it's like for the same reason.
No, he says UI last thing that gets me worried. Bad type, sorry. Oh, you mean it doesn't get you worried? Oh, you're not worried. Okay. I see what you're saying now. Thank you very much.
It's kind of like I was a little worried at first about like their 250 v250 PvP until Steven was like, yeah, we got some PlanetSide 2 devs working with us. I'm like, oh, okay. I got a lot more reassured by knowing like, okay, they have some veterans working on each aspect of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Usually when they progress the engine to different updates, or an example,
no, this guy has some talent working on his game.
Right? They do so while keeping in mind that there are development studios such as Intrepid that are always trying to keep as up to date as possible. Now, obviously, it's not as simple as just progressing, engine versions. I mean, art itself is created specifically for the game, so it would undertake some effort on.
I'll tell you one thing. One thing that gives me peace. You know what I mean? You want to talk about like the Blizz and Blizz and Diablo devs working on the game. One thing that gives me peace is the fact that he is at the helm. Okay, all of these people working under him, they're all marching to the beat of his drum. Okay? He is basically the person that says, this is my vision. And he hires people to create that vision. And if they're not creating that vision, he's just going to replace them with somebody who will, right? And this guy is an MMO player. Okay? He's not a dev. He's not a developer. He doesn't know, I don't think he knows much anything about making a game except for what he's educated himself on. I don't think he's ever done this for a living. He's a guy with a shit ton of money and a bunch of experience playing a game and knows what he wants to. He knows what makes a good game for him, and that's what he's trying to create. The good thing about that is that I'm not worried about 5, 10, 15 years down the line, because this is somebody who knows what it is to play an MMO. I know that this guy's played games, MMOs, for years. You know what I mean? So he's going to always want to go out of the way to keep his game fresh. Because as soon as he starts getting bored with his game, he's not going to, dump it. He's going to want to, make it better and more fun. as soon as it starts getting stale. So that's something that brings me peace. He knows how to run a business well. Yeah, I mean, we'll see, but I mean, he seems to be doing a good job so far.
On behalf of the studio during that time period, to make changes to the art, to utilize different third-party tools to help in that regard as well. So it's always a desire of ours to make sure that the game is relevant and updated, and expansions and chapters are introduced that will add additional quality. I mean, if you take a look at other franchises and their games at start and to where they are 10 years later, there's subtle and sometimes significant changes that are made to the game in order to update its visuals and or mechanics. And Ashes will be doing the same thing.
And our next question is from Worth, who wants to know, how will you ensure that explorative professions like animal husbandry and breeding won't be completely explored during alphas and betas? And I think we've kind of shown that in the way that we're doing Alpha 1. It's a little island. It is not necessarily the content that you're going to see in the game.
Oh, he definitely has investors.
Even if you want to talk a little
he
bit
definitely has investors.
Yeah, so part of it is that we, I don't think there will be enough time to fully explore everything.
I think it's not stock owners,
but it's different. Yeah, he doesn't have shareholders, but he definitely has a crap ton of investors.
I don't know that we'll ever have. I mean, I guess when we get to beta, things will be open for longer and people will be able to explore.
If I had $1 million and he allowed me to invest in this game, I would.
Of content that will be available for that, and that stuff will come online as we get closer and closer to launch. So, I mean, it's not going to be, you're not going to get the full game in beta. There will be things that are locked out and that will come online.
Well, he privately funded the game himself. There was a Kickstarter that gave him a bunch of funding. There's been his cash shop that he's had for 2 years now, selling cosmetics every single month, unique cosmetics going up there that they've been making a killing on. You know what I mean? Almost like running a mini game. And anybody who has any common sense, when they make a project, they want to have an excess of money. So he has some private investors, but that's not the same as having shareholders. That's something totally different.
As we move toward launch.
Yeah, you're right. He won't be forced to launch early. True.
A lot of the components that
but there's definitely investors.
The animal husbandry system are based kind of off of these data tables, and in order to facilitate, appropriate
I don't know if there are, but I'm sure there are
mechanics that exist within systems. You don't have to have the entire variety of options available to just, let's say, for the animal husbandry system, to see every type of combination in order for us to test whether or not that system is working as intended, right? So as Jeff was saying, we can disable a lot of those selections. That'll be a universal theme across some of the systems in order to protect against that, guard against that. Like, I've experienced everything, and this game is now, essentially launched in beta. Our desire is to test everything as much as possible, but we can do so while limiting and mitigating as much as possible the exposure experience.
And then Captain Ducky wants to know, will different archetypes and classes have different quests connected to node sieges, playing into their strengths? Example, a rogue stealing battle plans.
Oh, okay, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
Because we kind of need to have those quests be equitable. But it's a thing that we've talked about and we think would be really cool to kind of give you that sense of like, oh, I am infiltrating this node. Oh, I am trying to gather, intelligence on this node. Oh, I'm trying to, and whatever it is you end up doing ends up unlocking the siege. But at the same time, that does need to be an equitable thing across all classes. So
why did you not fight the death cap?
Do that is up in the air right now.
All right. And our next question is from Sent, which is funny name. They sent us a question.
Those mushrooms set a precedent for just how dangerous this world can be when something that looks like it's part of the land just attacks the crap out of you.
Yeah, for sure. I love it.
Like pets in your house, in your like freehold. I know we talked about animal husbandry and like stables and things of that sort.
I'm sure they're going to allow your minions.
Outside of the realm of possibility, it's an easy thing we could potentially implement. I'm not sure if that's necessarily. I know I remember talked about having children on a household that would just sit there and do chores.
No, Stephen. What?
And then if the household gets burned down, they get sent to an orphanage, and you can reclaim your child. But no.
Dude, I love it. Come on, guys. Come on, that's perfect. Perfect, dude. Are you kidding me? Yes. Hell yeah. You have your little slave labor there. Your little slave labor with the kids and shit.
Horrible.
Oh my god.
I could hear his PR department going, "Oh god, no."
Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's totally possible.
Thank you, Steven. Dude, I fucking love this guy. I love this guy so much, dude.
It shouldn't be too difficult to set up an NPC that paths on the freehold if there's a slot available.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Do you have time for any more, or can I get?
I think we can do one more, and then we'll probably do the sign-off stuff.
All right. Our next question then will be from Jalan, which is, do freeholds, since we're talking about freeholds, do freeholds take on the appearance of the predominant racial architecture of the node, like in-node housing does, or are they based on the owner's racial appearance or choice?
They are based off of the blueprint's appearance or choice. And then the blueprint, the building itself, can also have cosmetics applied to it based on the type of building and the available cosmetics the character has.
Yeah, and you'll have different buildings on your freehold and be able to put different cosmetics on them based on what type of building they are.
Yeah, the way we look at it is the freehold is your space, so we want you to be able to make it look the way you want it to.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us today.
I just lost.
Oh my god, that was so funny. I thought they just both DC. There's like, all right, pieces.
So,
deuces.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed all of the content we tried to cram into these dev updates. Just as quick reminders, we have a new dev discussion coming up, so definitely take part in those.
Or teleprompter.
Again, these help the dev team extremely. Again, we do put reports together on the forums in general, but in regards to specific things they're looking for feedback on, these are the things. So if you really want to have a say and provide your suggestions and your feedback on the game, definitely putting your opinion in those is going to be very, very helpful for us. Our monthly cosmetic swap over is happening on September 2nd, so stay tuned for the next set. Stephen did link a little.
Oh my gosh.
You go find them out there.
We're gonna look at this, guys. We're gonna have to look at this.
Pages up there. We've loved seeing everyone's art that they've done with the coloring, so thank you so much for doing that. And of course, follow us on all of the things. We'll have this video up on our YouTube channel, so definitely subscribe to us there. Sometimes we upload other videos. We'll also highlight this on our Twitch if you're following us on Twitch. And you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for all kinds of goodies. I think we just hit 50K on Twitter, which is amazing. So thank you guys so much. Woo. It's been amazing seeing all of the people who are supporting us and enjoying the content that we're putting out. We have a journey ahead of us that we're, continuing to share with you. And we appreciate you taking that journey with us, because game development is not easy. People always say like, oh, I want to make a game. That seems easy. It is not. And you're going to get to see the step-by-step process with us.
It's definitely important to the team to see your guys' support, and you guys tuning into these streams and commenting on the forums, on Discord, on Reddit, on our social medias. It is a great source of motivation for everybody. We're working very, 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 very hard to make the best possible game for you, and it means everything to us to see you guys along this journey with us. The patience you guys show, the love and support. All of that stuff goes to helping us create a better game, and we cannot be more appreciative of that. We love our community very much.
So thank you all so much.
Guys.
And with that, Stephen, I think you kind of did a great closing words. Jeff, do you have anything else you want to mention as well before we wrap things up?
Keep those resumes coming in. We're looking at all of them, and we still got a lot to hire. So.
Yep. So we'll be seeing you soon with a lot more folks on our team, and we're going to continue to pump out some amazing content. We'll see you next month for another dev update, and thank you so much again for all of your support. Doodles.
Bye, guys.
All right. Yeah. All in all, very, very, very happy with that development update. I think it really, really gave me a lot of it put me at ease with a lot of different aspects of the game when it comes to the combat. Definitely put me at ease. The combat, animations, just all of that whole, those were two things that I was really nervous about: combat and animations. I've talked about it, I've mentioned it multiple times, and the last dev stream last month was the July one was really good. Okay, it put me at ease a little bit on the animations. This one just finished it off. You know what I mean? Made me feel really, really good. Now, I do hope that they do something with the character models themselves.
Yeah, this upcoming one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm kind of really hoping. I'm hoping to hear an Alpha 1 date, and then I'm hoping to see some like real progress in the next few development updates for things like combat and things like that. They should be blazing forward.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with you, but so I mean, this has been the this has been a few years now. I can't remember when the Kickstarter was, and I just think that this game has really, really made a lot of progress in honestly a short amount of time. For an MMO, I think that they've done a lot. And for pre-alpha, what they're showing, and the thing about it is, where I really, really give them props is the fact that they have all these systems that they wanted to hit, all these different kind of like benchmark ideas that they wanted. And I'm just kind of looking, it's like, how are they going to do this? And how are they going to do this? And how, you guys are trying to do too much, but like you're seeing these things working in game. Like you're seeing them actually working, so it's just one of those things like, it's going to happen, and it just, you get to a point where a game is no longer vaporware, and you can kind of see what's starting to, you can see the fruit. You can see everything being created, and just feel so much better about it. At least that's just what I think. Do you have any major takeaways from this video?
I mean, I like a lot of what I saw. It's obviously there's still a lot of rough edges, but I like that they're quickly polishing them out. And I'm really hoping, again, I'm personally hoping for an Alpha 1 announcement on the next dev updates. It's supposed to be in fall. So I figured that would be the best time to do it. It'll be at the end of this month. And if that's the case, then those are the ones that I'm going to be looking at. Like a hawk. All of this was really nice to kind of validate the $250 I already spent. But the next ones are kind of going to they're really going to set the mood for where the game is going and how it'll look at launch.
Yeah. All right, well, look, Maezriel, if you get a chance, just go ahead and throw your a link to your podcast in the Twitch chat, and I will, if you're seeing this on YouTube, you can find Maezriel on Norganon Podcast. It's a World of Warcraft lore of World of Warcraft, okay? And if you're really interested in that, it's a great podcast. I'll put a link in the description below. But I thank you guys for watching the Ashes of Creation, our reaction to the August dev update, and I'm really looking forward to the September one. And we will see you guys on the next one. Okay, take care.
See you guys.